Everyone's sucking up this albino boy. At this moment, life's too good. All the ugly-ass nobles want to do business with him. But our MC is on a pretend game, cause he really wants to kill everyone there. But by being cool with those guys, he gains 10 false villain points. When suddenly the doors open and a red-haired girl is brought by her hair, cute bimbo babe with savage scar on her face, and she's known as the future godly fire mage of the academy, but know that she was brought there. Our boy has to act as true villain because that's how to farm system points to get stronger. The noble guys want to see Frey giving her a lesson, but he decides to play the crazy wig of villain and shouts like a psycho, ordering the trash to get out. Dudes froze and run like cartoon next second, and now is time to farm points. He grabbed Fireball Babe by the chin and says they will have some creamy, juicy fun. But before this, let's see how bro got there with this obligation to humiliate everyone on the academy. Our white-haired Temu Killua called Frey has a simple dream. Like any simple man, he just wants to marry the 6 hottest babes of the academy, and he got the potential since he's risen up even the teacher, and is the academy genius that can easily humiliate everyone. But unfortunately, things aren't going to be easy at all, because he had to first kill every single one of those future wives, and bro didn't hold back at all. When he went to give the legendary sword to the Demon King after the server wipe, even the demon was shocked with bro's brutality. He burned his whole home and let the demons destroy it all. He poisoned his family, killed his little sister, Zero Chill. This cute maid called Kanya could only cry while saying that she will hate him from the heavens, but thud dead. Our known Fireball's queen was even bigger before Holy Spheres. She's Irina and wished to know why the hero was commanding the demons. Before he said something, she tried self-explosion, fueled by those massive sphere, but with no success. Blonde Princess Klana swore that he will rot on hell for slashes. Bro ain't here to hear a woman complaining. Every day is a good day to go to the church, but today, when the Saintess Furloach was praying, it wasn't one of those cause. Frey just opened the doors. She swore that even on her death, she will never forget. Yappin stopped once again, but we gotta wipe the whole squad. So he went to talk with this girl leaning on a wall. Serena turned saying that she don't know why she still likes him and damn, she's cute, but it doesn't matter because she became another pool of blood. This bro is demonic. Even the thick demon queen said that he was something so evil and unheard of. But the moment she went to grab the hero's thick sword, she felt something huge coming at her face, a heavenly light, because bro turned on that Starlight family aura and smiled like Vegeta. Since the beginning, the plan was to get there. And with this, Boom eyes open and he jolts awake. No doubt that's his home. Gets up and takes a look at the calendar. Yes, this is the day before the academy. Bro calls the system, and now for the first time he has the villain path opened, but he has to be a real menace to save the world. If you succeed, incomparable happiness will come to you. Frey knows this is the reward he received for having destroyed himself along with the Demon King. And finally, he had entered the secret route, and he swears that this time he will save everyone. Next chapter, we're 10 years back with big-headed Frey. The father is talking about some letters that only the chosen ones and heroes of the Starlight House can read. They stop there at the entrance, and the father says that from now on, the big-headed one goes alone. You know the prophecy, don't you? What's the most important part? Marrying 6 wives? No, you little brat, it's saving the world. When the Demon King arrives, the successor will appear, the whole world will be thrown into flames, and someone has to save it. That someone is the hero of the Starlight family. Got it. That's because the prophecy starts 1,000 years ago, and today, exactly, is the year 1000, so it's the day for the great hero to be born. Go, kid. Open the door, the big-headed one enters. Hey, is anyone there? I can't see anything. Oh, damn, the door closed. However, suddenly, the glow on the floor starts calling him. He approaches, and there is the shining big sword, the legendary sword of the Hero King. But the moment he goes to grab it, the guy with black hair appears, saying it's too early for him to handle it. The kid is sending absolute cinema, asking, "Who are you?" The guy says, apparently, he doesn't even recognize the face of his ancestors. Frey is there, a bit confused. Ancestor? Wait a minute, you must be the handsome guy? Remembering the statue. The ancestor already wants to abandon this kid, doesn't deserve 6 women. No, but he already warns, you came here in this room to learn to conquer the world, didn't you? Frey, no, I came here because my father told me to have 6, no, to save my friends. The guy responds that this is part of conquering the world. It really is, thinking about it. So you're not wrong. Now listen to me, big-headed. This world here is what we call hard mode. Frey is there. No, hard mode. What are you talking about? Seeing that the kid doesn't understand, he puts his hand on his face and says that seeing is understanding. This is the world you will live in if you follow the wrong path. And then, demons running here and there, everyone dying desperately. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 wives going to the beyond. Truly, it's a tragic future for Frey. Boom. Obviously, he falls to the ground crying and says he saw a world of despair. The ancestor thinks it's no wonder the boy is shaken. He just saw everything he holds dear being destroyed. He asks what the boy thinks, and wow. Now he's motivated, fired up, saying he'll do whatever it takes. Just like his ancestor, he'll protect everyone. Aha, so cool. Protection, right next to you. This world of yours is too good to protect, boy. Son Goku had to save 3 to get 1, and you're there saving this little world, taking 5 plus the Demon Queen. Okay then, the guy from the past is giving that look, thinking he almost forgot that this boy is also a hero. With that, he says, well, I'll tell you the only way for you to get the 6, it's the only way for you to be happy. This is the route for you to save not only yourself, but everyone you love. However, the guy already knows that this path is not easy at all. He would first need to destroy the entire world with his own hands and die along with the Demon King. Only then could he enter the secret route and new challenges would await him. However, he couldn't lose faith in his heart. So that's what happened at the beginning, right? It was the first life in which he had to kill everyone. And now, back in the present, I think he says he's ready to head towards the so-called happy path. In theory, nothing changed, but the only thing that's different is the presence of the little system. Apparently, this is the essential ability to create the new future. It was really similar to what he saw in the prophecy book when he was a child. And at this pace, he's confident he'll manage to solve everything on the first try and will die about 16 times. He knows that in the route that guy showed, this was essential. If he can master the system, he'll achieve it in the end. Oh, I keep teasing Frey Rayon, but his whole vision of happiness is him with 5 wives. I really hit the nail on the head. Look at this. Son, he's a little kid there, already wanting the gang around. My goodness, this child is a danger. Oh, look who's knocking on the door, dear Kanya, asking the master if she can come in. He says yes, while thinking he's suffered so much recently. He's going to take a little break. Right at that moment, though, the system goes to 100%. Ray is eager to talk to his childhood friend, Kanya. However, the system turns red and says vital signs have been detected. The protagonist is a bit confused, and in that, Kanya is entering all shiny. Even petals came for her. All polite. There, little maid, one of the heroines, Kanya. Oh, no way. The system says the 5 heroines retain the memories of the past life. Me. Now the boy is in trouble. Big-headed. How are you going to solve this? The system is now the path of the false villain. Yikes. It even says, you chose to commit evil acts that destroyed the world in your past life. And in this life, the system will force you to commit those acts again. And there's a penalty. If you're caught doing good things, your life force will be drastically reduced. Not only does she know he's a villain, but he has to do villain things. And no one can know he's doing good things. Me. Even worse, he needs to accumulate evil points, which are necessary to buy items or abilities. System emergency. From the moment that message came that the heroines have memories from the past century. Poor Frey is in shock. They didn't warn him that having 5 wives was this difficult. Oh, Kanya is there, calling for him, standing still, with those big purple eyes staring. Frey, at the moment, is already feeling the killer energy coming from her. Kanya has been their maid from the beginning, who comes with a natural dark magic that drains her life force. She's also one of the 5 wives mentioned in the prophecy. I won't even call her a heroine because we already know what you want, Frey. And now that she remembers the memories, it's trouble. He says some things like, if you don't have peace, you're not even special and are good for nothing, want to be kicked out of this house, take a stomp on the head. Frey is sure she must want to kill him at any moment. She asks what he wants for dinner, and he just replies to bring the usual, whatever. She thanks. Boom, slams the door. Poor thing, she's trembling. The girl's eyes have never been so cold. From the way she's staring at him, he knows she really remembers everything. He thinks about what he can do when the system activates once more, saying that the intuition of the false villain detected a killing intent nearby. Frey thinks he's felt this a lot, so it's not because he's doing it again. The ability then appears, intuition of the false villain detects a chance of dying per day. The protagonist is like, hold on, but I identified it's Kanya. If she kills me, that I'm her master, how is she going to get away with it? Apparently, at this moment, she wants to kill me, even if it affects her life. Oh, the door opens. She comes bringing a soup. Nothing suspicious. Frey already sees the dark magic. Man, nothing suspicious. She tells him to enjoy the meal and hands over the big purple plate. The protagonist knows she's acting like this because all she remembers is him acting like trash. However, he has to play the game, so he tells her to stand still there. She turns around, and he already gives her a scolding, wanting to know who told her to bring this here. He's wanting to eat a sandwich. Boom. Throws it against the wall, almost hitting her head. There you go. Another villain point. Oh, she's in shock. Ran out. Girl. It's good. That's right. Slam the door. You don't have a tail. A few minutes later, she comes back, bringing a sandwich. However, it's cursed again. He looks, no way I'm eating this thing without cheese. Go make another one. She, ma. No, go make another one, woman. Wow, man, it's Sigma indeed. The first thing he does when he reincarnates is get strong, is to make the woman prepare food over and over again until she makes exactly what he wants. Simply a legend. He's there shouting, telling her to redo. redo, redo. 8 attempts. She's already trembling, saying she brought another one. He sees that once again the thing is cursed and thinks the damn girl is persistent. She's doing this every time, and her dark magic is being drained. In that, he takes the sandwich and goes to bite it. She's looking there. Damn. Go. Take a bite. Go. Go. Frey. Eat. However, he throws it away. Oh, actually, I want that soup from before. Make it again. Boom. The poor thing falls to her knees, devastated, and faints. Ah, come to daddy's lap. Smiling, right, naughty. Thinking it's a very cruel world. He wished he could laugh with her, even a little, but now the most important thing is to earn the points and not lose his life. At this moment, he's going to recharge his life energy before it gets worse. At least he knows the only way to stabilize her dark magic is to fill her body with the magic of another body. He says he knows he won't live long, so ensuring she lives a long life is the best option. Oh, wow. What do you mean, man? The life of 5 wives? Boy, there's a lot to do. Yeah, a lot. After healing her, he's in bed, thinking this situation is ridiculous. He has to think of a plan. The original idea of how he was going to solve this life, apparently, went down the drain. He has 2 months until the main mission starts, and until then, he has to stay low profile, ensuring he doesn't draw anyone's attention. The initial plan was to do this for the rest of his life, not reveal his identity, and then get strong enough to kill the Demon King alone. But now he's got a problem, especially when there are 4 wives waiting for him. Irina, the magic sphere mage, our dear nun to give a healing, the princess to make him rich and millionaire, and Serena. Look at the crazy look on this last one. She was the only one who liked him. Even when he killed the whole world, she still liked him. Clearly, this one doesn't have it all together in the head. She's the real danger, I'd say. Look there. Look again. Appeared in the next photo. Wow. Wait, is she already his wife? He says, one of them is my wife, who's traveling and doesn't need my immediate attention. Jesus, what a good life already came with a guy in the pocket. Besides the traveling wife, Kanya, who is Princess Solar Sunrise, was abandoned by the royal family at this moment and has no power to do anything against him. The biggest problems are Irina's fears and dear Furloche of prayer. The little Saint Furloche is a girl from the church, so he would have to do something very heretical for her to have a way to punish him. The big threat is Irina. Oh, you're wanting it, naughty, right? Already wants to solve the biggest one. He knows she's extremely impulsive, unstoppable, and the second she sees him, he's sure she'll attack without hesitating a second. Kanya is a danger for being close, but since her sister is kind of a hostage, she won't kill him blatantly. And at this moment, what he needs most are those false villain points to get stronger. Only with enough strength will he have the ability to survive, otherwise he'll get hit by Irina's fireball. Oh, what a bad situation. The problem is there's a limit to how many points he can earn just with Kanya. According to the system, the more malicious and risky his actions are, the more points he gains. Using what he knows from his past life, the prophecy, and the book, he can roughly understand the path he needs to follow. He'll have to get organized because tomorrow the real battle begins when he enters the Magic Academy. It looks like the sun is already rising. He slept sitting there, not leaving the room. He says now that he's made his plans, it's time to wake up that cursed one. He picks her up, throws her on the floor, gets ready, and scolds her, asking how long she's going to stay lying in his room. She wakes up. Hey, what's going on? She goes to the corner, covering herself, thinking he did something wrong. He tells her to get up quickly. Today is the first day at the academy, and he needs her to prepare the carriage. Kanya, not knowing much about what happened, just decides to leave and closes the door. Frey opens the system and sees that, unfortunately, he still only has 100 points. He'll need much more than that to start buying skills or items. Looking at Kanya from afar, he says that, unfortunately, he'll have to keep earning as much as possible while avoiding death. It's going to be quite an exciting life at the academy. Now we're in the wide halls, and everyone is having fun. Wow, everyone's pampering our boy, saying he's the freshman representative this year, representing the biggest family in the duchy. Oh, he's going to be so spoiled, and Frey is taking advantage of it. Yes, I have an amazing family. I'm very handsome, and my talent is unmatched. However, he knows the reason this bunch of vultures won't leave him alone. 2 guys as handsome as Lord Frontera say, "Hey, Lord Frey, we have some products we wanted to sell at the Royal Palace, right? Everyone will like them. If needed, there are also some girls who are quite interesting." Frey thanks them and says he'll decide after seeing their true sincerity, while thinking that these bastards only care about money and women. Yeah, right, 5 wives. The kid is eating, saying he doesn't just want to kill the Demon King, he also wants to end this corrupt nobility. However, the easiest way to earn points is to play this role. Another 10 points for the fake villain were earned. Then he hears a commotion outside, someone shouting, "Let me go." Another telling her to come quietly, and then a guy brings a redhead, telling Frey to take a look. Oh, look, Irina of the Spheres was captured. At this moment, she's a bit weaker, but Frey knows her specialty is fire magic, though she can still use other elements. She's what they call a little genius. Even though she's weak, theoretically, this bunch of random guys shouldn't stand a chance. Or maybe she wanted to be captured to be brought there. Already in shock, Frey doesn't waste a second, opens the system, sees a protection there for 70 points, and buys it. At least the points he earned with Kanya yesterday will be useful for something, and now he's face to face with Irina. However, he notices something strange. Irina's mana status was 0. He finds it odd. Why doesn't a genius like Irina have mana? Maybe she's planning to save it all and blow him up at once. What's going on? Irina is shouting, telling the dirty bastards to let her go. However, Irina at the academy tells the vulgar woman to shut her mouth. Wow. Frey tells the guy to get out of here now. The fool is there, not understanding. The protagonist throws the cup on the floor, tells the bastards to disappear, that he's going to have fun with the women. Oh, boy. The kid even scared the villains, and the guy left. Wow, I'm out of here. Frey came with malice, devilish smile, grabs her face and says they're going to have fun in a really nice place. She responds that he's disgusting. If she knew he was like this, she would have hit him with supreme magic instead of the demon army. He, however, what are you talking about? First, I'm going to have to teach you to shut that arrogant mouth of yours. The protagonist is going in with a full hand, while she cries, saying she was caught before midnight. But when she looks to the side, he's on the floor, passed out. Her friend gets up, says it looks like he's too drunk, and says it's their chance to escape. The door opens, and the two are running, with Irina saying this guy is a bastard, seeing common people as slaves. Frey realizes the plan worked. He could only risk pretending to faint because he bought that emergency barrier, and thanks to the cruel axe, he earns another 10 villain points. Wow, only 10 points? Being a villain here is demanding. What will he have to do? Kill the whole world, marry, then blow himself up with the demon queen? Apparently. Oh, wait, the emergency was fully used at midnight. The target was Irina Filiardi, and she would receive the Midnight Curse. This curse can be used once a year and leaves the target in a state of mana exhaustion for a year. Well, I didn't quite understand, but I imagine we'll understand soon. Meanwhile, Kanya is arriving, sees him on the floor all twisted, gives a fake hiccup, pretending to be drunk. She helps him up, and the rascal is playing with her face and giving kisses on the cheek. Wow, she even carried him on her back, while he says if she were always this obedient, it would be perfect. While being carried, Frey thinks he's being seen as some kind of clown, but whatever. The important thing for him is to earn points and increase his vitality. But then, Kanya says he's still filthy. If it weren't for her sister, she would kill him right there and then. Frey felt a shock, remembered all the happy and joyful moments they spent together. He took care of her, and she took care of him. Now, on the other hand, she tells him to wait. The day she ensures her sister's safety will be the day he won't survive. Wow, we arrive at the dormitory. He tells her to leave because he wants to rest. She, however, says she's going to sleep there with him. Oh, what a bad situation, guys. He says she must be joking, because she responds that the Duke ordered her to keep an eye on him 100% of the time. If she's expelled from the room, she'll be expelled from the academy, and it's over. Frey is a bit shocked. He knows there are only 3 ways for the game to be considered game over: being expelled from the academy, or being prohibited from attending classes, the death of any of the heroines, or him dying at a time that isn't the final battle. And the problem is if he expels Kanya, and she's expelled from the academy, everything's ruined because he won't be able to earn points, which could lead to his expulsion later, and then it's over. How will he manage to earn villain points? Having to live in this place, protecting them with his life while being the enemy of all. However, unfortunately, complaining won't change anything. The next day, the sun rises, the young girl wakes the villain, but he doesn't want to get up. She says it's okay then and leaves the room, saying they'll talk later. He tells her to wait there, then starts coughing. Oh my, coughing blood. Apparently, he spent too much vitality yesterday. Oh, when she was carrying him, he was giving vitality to her. I thought it was the other way around. She asks if he's okay. He says yes, not to worry, but the boy has a pool of blood in his hand. To distract himself, he gets up and asks when he gave her permission to go ahead, grabs the pen there, rascal, and says she's just like this pen. Can this thing move on its own? Throws it away, saying no, if she has any complaints, it's best to speak up now, because he's going to turn her sister into his slave. Wow, that went far, huh? The poor girl starts crying, apologizing, asking to please forgive her sister. However, the boy woke up inspired. He already comes. Oh, you're crying. It's your precious little sister. Hey, Kanya, you better learn to obey and stop having these weird ideas of wanting to do what you want. Wow, another 10 points. Oh, hard points to earn. Give a sweep there. Let's see what happens. With that, Kanya picks up the pen from the floor, remembers it was her little sister who gave it to her, misses the so-called Kadia. At the same time, though she got scolded, she sees his bloody hand on the mattress, wanting to know if he had some kind of disease she didn't know about. Scene changes, we're in the first class, and our teacher talks about the subject the boy studies. Her name is Isoret Allen Bework. What an ugly name. She'll be taking care of their class this year, and then she sees the two fools entering and already warns that the bastards are late, minus 10 points. Frey already scolds Kanya, saying it's her fault for being so slow. However, the fireball is there on the side, wanting to know what the two are doing there. He takes a look, decides not to answer anything, and just turns around. Apparently, Irina used some magic because she's there wondering, how is this bastard alive? My magic was perfect. Could this bastard already be the Demon King? The protagonist is just observing this from the corner. Iseret tells everyone to be quiet, and there's another one staring at the protagonist from behind. Oh, boy, Furlosh, the little saint is there too. Oh, the boy is surrounded on all sides. What a dangerous class. He's lazy. Irina is angry, the teacher is explaining, while there's another one with green eyes just staring at the boy. Time passes, the book closes, and the next class will be outside. Someone touches his shoulder and calls for Lord Frey. Oh, boy. Look how she comes, all shy. This one is the type that tries to seduce to kill. She says, hey, can I offer you a blessing quickly? Right, somewhere no one can see. I want to bless you, just the two of us. Oh boy, how does the guy resist, right? Obviously, he resists because the system warns that someone wants to kill the boy. He thinks this girl is more obvious than he imagined, and then he turns, no, I don't want it, thanks. She stays there. Wait, B, but you know my blessing can't be bought with money. He leaves saying, bye, I don't want your blessing. She stays there crying, making drama, apologizing, saying he's cruel, but he doesn't care. Bye, bastard, get out. We're already outside. The teacher saying today will be combat training. Grab the big sword. Wow, why is the right one bigger than the left? I don't know, right? But she tells everyone to take a step forward. Fair and honest exchange, everyone watching. Iseret takes a look, makes a cut, and apparently, I don't know what happened. Is it magic? Just passed, teleported, the guy dropped the sword, she says he's useless and calls the next one. Throws the big sword at the other's neck too and says it's useless for him to try to use a fireball at a time like this. He was another pathetic one, and she calls for the next one once again. Then it's Kanya's turn. She gets up in anger there. Iseret asks if she's ready. The wife responds yes. Then she goes forward to give the sword strike, but she starts a conjuration of a magic, raised a shield, defended another. The protagonist is impressed. Kanya is the type that always avoids any fight since she'll zero her own mana. The bastard, however, should stop because there's a limit to how much he can share his vitality remotely. Honest exchange continues. While Frey thinks that's enough, why was Kanya going so far? The two are having fun, while he's the one suffering there, having all his energy drained. Iseret says the girl is exceeding her expectations, but she won't last that long. But then, absolute cinema. Let's stop here, teacher. I was born with a little problem of unstable mana, and I can't fight anymore because I'm out of energy. It's over. Iseret backs off saying it's okay. She was being cautious, but really the girl has good potential. Frey celebrates. The poor guy thought he was going to faint there from lack of vitality. And then, the teacher calls for the next one, boy, and the protagonist is putting on a devil's pendant, saying he needs to be well prepared because this was an unmissable opportunity to earn a lot of points. Next scene, Irina tries a conjuration, but apparently fails and falls unconscious like an idiot. Oh, poor thing, still under the curse. Dear Princess Furlosh says she's next, but she doesn't want to participate. The teacher asks why, and she, oh, Teacher Chan, I can't use my power against good people. Iseret says she understands, but that will be a big disadvantage. But it's time for the last person. The devilish one gets up and comes to the arena, all in that aura formation and little sword on his back, lazy, and already says, hey, big sister is pretending to be a teacher who cares about students' fun. Iseret responds asking too, is pretending to be a noble fun for you? You better come right against me, because I'm going to end that polluted mind of yours. Boy, the protagonist went indeed, in a second, already face to face, blushed. Frey has an extremely expensive pendant, but says this here is paying the price. He tells her not to be surprised by this level, because he's just starting and threw him back. Rascal filled the sword with aura. I don't know what position this is, right? Looks more like dancing than fighting, but went for the teacher again, who can't handle the whip on the shoulder and legs. The students around are like, wow boy, the teacher is being beaten, and she's there trying to resist another attack, but then her sword is thrown up and stayed frozen in the freeze frame. The protagonist passed and the thing sticks in the ground. Then, Furloch, from afar, says he's wearing a pendant that's exuding demon aura. The teacher asks if this is true, and Furloch, annoying as hell, is already coming to take a look. She uses her sacred magic there. The pendant starts screaming and agonizing. The good little nobles around are like, oh, the Duke's son is using dark magic, this boy is evil. While the half-villain crowd is like, wow, the Duke's son is the badass. The guy is spending a fortune just to humiliate the teacher. With that, another 2,000 villain points were earned. Seems like the thing, like humiliating in a way that everyone sees. The protagonist realized this, right? The problem at school, for everyone to know, is the way. And Iseret, however, calls for Frey and says they're going to have a little talk between the two. We've already moved to her room, with her saying that bringing magical artifacts is illegal, so what does he think he's doing? Frey gives that sigh, it was just a little item, like, nothing much. Iseret finds it strange and wants to know what happened. He wasn't like this before. Then he sees that in the window it says she's angry, disappointed, regretful, with sympathy, and he realizes that even with what he did, she's still worried about him. But unfortunately, he can't back down. Then he says, I had to adapt. In this current society, appealing to emotions is useless, and living honestly is something only idiots do. She gets up saying it's okay. Since it's the first time he's acting like this, she'll let it slide. Frey responds, as expected from Big Sister, but that thing was really expensive, right? So, I ended up losing. She says he can be compensated, but he'll have to take her to the store where he bought this item. She's going to destroy everything in that place. Frey says he's in the mood to visit the store anyway. There's a lot for him to buy. Because Asura responds that she's not going there to buy anything, but he's already leaving, saying they'll see each other tomorrow. While thinking that magical tool was very worth it, alone, it yielded 2,000 points for the boy. Asura stays there, not understanding, wondering why Frey changed so much. We're back in the room, with Kanya saying hi to our boy, holding the kitten, while he says he forgot she's always there. He asks, right, what's that? She says it's a teddy bear, made by her sister Kanya. It was a cute one. Frey turns around saying that it's insignificant, but he's actually thinking it's quite cute. He wishes her good night to go to sleep, but in the middle of the night, he wakes up to see that she has really fallen asleep. He gets up to give her vitality so she can survive the next day. However, what he didn't expect was that the little cat was watching everything. The kitty is staring as Frey approaches to put his hand on her, wondering if she's really asleep. Earlier, we saw that Kanya found it strange that Frey was constantly coughing up blood. She's always keeping an eye on him during the day and hasn't noticed anything suspicious. That's why she created this little creature, because she's sure there's something suspicious he's doing at night. I don't know if it's a camera or if she's maintaining consciousness inside the creature, but it seems like she's seeing everything. The protagonist lifts her shirt and now wants to know what this pervert is doing. Didn't he say he was exhausted from the fight, so why is he doing this? Oh, she swears that when she wakes up and regains her body, this bastard is going to die. However, she stops there, confused about why his hand is just resting on her stomach. Besides, he seemed to be in pain. She decides he must be doing something even worse. She's going to keep an eye on him to see his true intentions. Then, he falls back. Phew, that's it, enough. And she finds it strange. Wait, was that really all? Then the protagonist approaches the teddy bear, which is there, sweating nervously. She wonders if he noticed and started pretending, but it should be impossible. Not even the saint could detect this level of dark magic. However, the protagonist picks up the teddy bear and says it's too cute, starts petting it, and she's there, puzzled. He falls onto the bed, rubbing his stomach, having fun. Then, he pokes the stomach, and the little creature lets out a meow. The protagonist finds it amazing. Such a cute kitty. Even meows when you pet it. Apparently, he spent the whole night playing with it. The next day arrives. He gets up from the bed and sees Kanya on the floor with a stomachache, saying her stomach hurts. He tells her to go to the bathroom quickly, and she runs off. In this, he gains 200 points of misunderstanding and is, obviously, confused again. However, at that moment, the system says that due to the accumulation of evil points, he went from beginner to intermediate. And with that, finally, the little shop was unlocked. He's curious, so much to buy. But in the middle of this, another notification. Main mission, Dormitory attack incident. Reward, the awakening of the hero's soul. Failure, reduction of vitality points and lifespan. Instantly, his expression changes. First, I have to go to that auction to get a certain item. Since I already have the proposal with Asura, it's the perfect chance. Then, someone is at the door calling for him, and he tells Kanya to open it. She tells the teacher to come in, who wants to know, right? What are you doing here? Kanya. She replies that she received permission to share a room with the young master since she is the servant. The teacher is shocked and enters startled, saying, Frey, how can you share a room like this with someone of the opposite sex? He says, oh teacher, you're really a virgin, huh? You need to experience life soon, or you'll miss the chance to get married. The poor thing is stuck in the system. Kanya tries to explain that nothing happened, but it's too late. Another 100 points for the brave one. The protagonist is already hugging the teacher now, telling her to snap out of it because they have a lot to do. With that, we're in the city, with her asking, Frey, is this really the store? He tells her to shut up and follow along. Wow, harsh, man. We follow through alleys and corridors and streets until Asura stops and asks, what place is this? Frey realizes she doesn't know the district of joy and poverty. Everyone knows about the Empire's corruption, but few have gone there to see what really happens. Then Asura tells him to guide her to the store quickly because after she solves this problem, she's going to clean up this entire area. However, he says, hold on, Asura, we're right in front of the store. This is the place. She says it's fine and tells him to stay there, that she's going to finish this quickly. Frey scratches his head, thinking she really hasn't changed. Looking to the side, the chaos happening, he knows all this is preparation for the main quest, so it's good she doesn't cause more trouble than necessary. Then, the blonde next to him is being captured by some thugs who say the master will be pleased with today's captures. Frey, however, is starting to lose his mind and says this is something he can't let slide. Yeah, my friend, but the problem is you can't be caught helping others, right? So, how are you going to do this? Just boldly, he advanced, following the guys turning the corner. The protagonist appears sliding and wonders if this is the place. Suddenly, the guys are all with their tongues out. "Get out of here, you ditties." They're going to say kids can't, but the protagonist throws the coins and passes, leaving them quiet. Yikes. With the pinkish atmosphere and the big receptionist, you can already imagine what kind of place this is. She shows a notebook with everything they have to offer. The protagonist, however, says he likes to see things in person before deciding. She, however, responds that he probably doesn't know much about how it works since he's young, but that's something she can't offer. More gold coins and that's it. Come on, kid. Come meet everyone. Frey, looking around, realizes it's really a secret place. And then the system says, Succubus Queen. Special ability, charm, scent of the succubus, and attribute, flower, serpent. Really, as he suspected, there's some connection with the Demon King, and it's good for him to investigate. The sly one is all confident, telling him to take a look, that he's going to like it a lot. Already in front, she tells everyone to smile because they have an important client. My God, the girls are smiling, but poor things, they're so mistreated, right? It looks like everyone just came out of a soccer game. The succubus says maybe he's a bit dazed because it's a bit too much for him. However, Frey says no, he liked it a lot, and his favorites are the youngest ones. My God, FBI, open up. He gives another bag of money, asking what she thinks, and she changes her expression. Suddenly, she gets all excited, saying that if that's the case, there's nothing she can do. She suddenly goes to a wall, gives it 3 knocks, and a passage begins to open. She says it's a secret place with incredible things, but then she gets a kick in the stomach and is sent flying. Wow, knocked her out, and the protagonist is already running, telling the wretch to stay quiet, that he just came for a quick look. At the end of the corridor, he sees what seems to be the succubus's plan. The circle on the ground was the awakening of the Demon King, and to accumulate enough energy, they were going to sacrifice the people there. At that moment, the succubus appears, asking why he's acting like this, and obviously orders everyone to capture this bastard alive. Frey, knowing he can't be seen doing good deeds, already puts on the mask and, wow, for the first time, we're going to see him fight, right? He draws the sword and cuts 4 necks. The girl is already in shock, wanting to know who he is. Another one slashed. He gives her a stare while she trembles, telling him not to come closer. What do you want? Who passed the information? Do you want a night of joy? My God, he doesn't care about anything. Take this stab. She asks why he refused, because he replies that he doesn't make deals with people like her. The body falls to the ground. Trying to seduce the boy who has 5 wives wasn't a good idea. With that, the protagonist is telling the rat eaters that it was nothing much. However, they all thank him and leave, saying he's the hero. The system then says the sudden mission was successfully completed, and he can choose the reward. While he's thinking about what to choose, one of the rat eaters comes over wanting to know, right, how he knew everyone was trapped there. Her name is Gran, and her attribute is pure. Frey, very kind, sees that this is the child he saved earlier who was being taken away before. He decides he's going to give her a reward because if he trains her with this potential, she might have a great chance to change the world. With that, he gives her a ring, saying it's a lucky charm. She wants to know, right, why she's getting this? Because he says it's an investment in the country. The girl thanks him but wants to know his name so she can repay him one day. He says she doesn't need to worry about that. Everything he's doing is the work of a hero. With that, he says goodbye, saying, hey, you have good magical talent, you know, my girl. Go study magic. She stands there a bit confused while putting on the ring, but she closes her hands and thanks the hero, saying she's sure one day she'll be able to repay this kindness. The story goes that at that moment, Frey had no idea that this event would bring unimaginable change. Yeah, he messed up. Everything completely destroyed. He finds Asura, who wants to know where he was. The protagonist is in shock. Man, he got distracted for a second, and she wiped out everyone there. He then apologizes and says he went to the Information Guild to gather information. That's it. And it seems that today there's going to be an auction for a certain magical artifact. Iseret, startled, immediately tells him to say the location so they can get it. He, however, explains that unfortunately, it seems there's a magical barrier, and you can't enter without a ticket. She wants to know how they're going to solve this, and he seems to say he has a certain solution. With that, she's clinging to the boy, wanting to know if that's the only way to enter. He says he warned her. To enter, you need a ticket, and since she doesn't have one, she'll enter as the boy's lover. Already in the chair, he thinks it's good he brought her since she's a great bodyguard. Oh, but there's someone right next to him. Huh, I don't know. The protagonist, however, oh, exactly, right? He notices something. He comments about the artifact. Iseret wants to know where, but the protagonist sees the damn Kanya there. Before he can say anything, there's a blonde coming to sit down. And the so-called Kanya, right? Who I think is the solar sunrise there. Who is the princess of the family, I think. I don't know. In front of him is also the damn Furloche. Dear none, my God, but he's surrounded. The protagonist is even hiding, wanting to know, wow, why is everyone here? Are they after the same item? Trying to control me with that to dominate everything. Right at that moment, the auctioneer says he has something incredible to present. This is a mysterious stone, an item with a power that no one can understand, not even with advanced analyses. With that, Frey decides there's no reason to think. Securing this item was the main priority. This was the Stone of Domination, an item that can suppress a target and manipulate their mind. And this was essential to finish the first scenario. The auction will start at 1 gold coin, and the protagonist doesn't hesitate, already throwing 15 on the table, saying he won't let anyone take it. And it's a shame because in the world, money is everything. And it's good they don't underestimate the financial power of the strongest family in this empire. The auctioneer asks, "Does anyone offer more?" And the princess, of course, bids 20. Man, another person already bids 10,000, the dear nun. But apparently, she wrote it wrong. She meant to do 1,000 and added another 0. Oh, poor thing, really mentally challenged. The protagonist notices, but unfortunately, he can't let this pass at all and bids 11,000. Someone bids 12,000, but man, a guy there adjusting his mustache. Frey finds it strange. Who is this guy who's so interested in the stone? He decides to bid 13,000, and the guy goes up to 20,000. Frey bids 22, and the guy goes to 30,000, 45,000, 50,000. The auctioneer is even panting, wanting to know if anyone will break this offer. 55,000, the hammer falls, and the protagonist says he was reaching his limit, more or less, secured what he needed. However, he's feeling a sinister aura. It's Kanya next to him, wanting to know how many years of her salary is 55,000 gold coins. The protagonist is a bit scared, and suddenly she stands up, throwing a circle up. Then he notices that Kanya was silent from the beginning because her plan was always to steal. Frey is already running while everyone is saying to stay calm, that they're going to investigate what's happening. Frey, however, realizes this was the worst that could happen. He has to secure this item at any cost. However, when his hand is almost reaching, a fiery foot hits him in the mouth and throws him against the wall. The girl says he shouldn't even be here, so who is he? It's better for him to introduce himself while he still can. The protagonist, however, tells her to take a look down. She says she won't fall for that, but he says it's better to do it quickly. And then she sees that the skirt, that she used with the fire attack there, was burning and rising. Kanya crouches down, a bit shy, and then Furloche says he must be working for the Demon King to be such a pervert. She creates a shield that seems to hit the protagonist squarely. She's all there, a bit embarrassed and confident it worked, until she sees the boy intact. Frey thinks, as always, she has strength, but loses control by getting too excited. The two are there in position, saying he will have to accept the punishment of the sun god and that if he underestimates her, he will be killed there. When someone suddenly passes like a bullet between the two, they fall to their knees, embarrassed, and even the protagonist is wondering who this weirdo is. Man, the two, apparently, fainted. The guy goes to the face, pulls the mask, and says it's a pretty interesting place to meet Frey Round. This one is a guy named Eucharius, who has the ability of transformation and mind control, with the attribute of a trickster. Good stuff, isn't he? Who says he put them to sleep because they were being noisy? Yikes! Eucharius is the great demon king, and Frey wants to know what this guy is doing here. The protagonist bows there, saluting, almost wanting to know. "Oh, would you by any chance be Mr. Eucharius?" The guy just ignores and says, "Apparently, you're here to get the Stone of Domination." The protagonist, not knowing how to disguise, "The Stone of Domination? What's that? Is it good?" "I don't know about that." Eucharius says it's the item that can increase his power, and now Frey is sure who got that damn item in the past life. I think Eucharius is saying that with that, not even the Demon King could ignore him. Or rather, don't think he's pretending. I don't know. What the protagonist, apparently, wants to know who these two are fighting, because Eucharius says he brainwashed the swordswoman who tried to attack, and he scratches his mustache, saying he's eager to see how much stronger he'll get when he gets that stone. Wow. Frey starts drawing the sword and says he's relieved, then, that at this moment he's so weak and slashes. Wow. Saying he thought the trash would at least be at the level of a demon lord. Ah, now I see Kanya being beaten. Wow, man, you're going to have to save her, but then you'll lose points, won't you? She's there with her eyes closed, and then those red droplets fall. My god, Frey, I thought you were going to come in killing, not tanking, man. Me, but he's a complete idiot. He tanked, spat blood, hugged, he's all open. Wow, he was opened by the big sword. Kanya asks if he's okay, but he just grabs the sword there and stands up. She wants to know who he is, right? Apparently, you can't recognize with this extremely wide mask, covering the entire face of the boy. Oh, Frey sees that he killed the cursed Eucharius, but the girl is still under mind control. How is he going to defeat her with the power he currently has? He made all this drama just to stare her down and land a blow that knocked her sword into the air, and it seems like she snapped back to reality and fell to the ground. Frey thinks that should be enough to clear the mind control. Now, he needs to hurry and get out of there, and he's already on his way out. Of course, Kanya wants to know who he is, but the boy disappears like a bullet. We're already in another part of the city, running, with a bunch of people around. He knows that if he dies there, everything he's done so far will have been for nothing. He needed to hold on until he at least reached the students' dormitory. I didn't quite understand the rush, but the girls are waking up, all groggy, not understanding what happened. Meanwhile, Kanya feels a little nudge on her foot and is startled to see the demon's head, but Kanya is more interested in knowing exactly who that person was. She recognizes the princess next to her and asks what she's doing there. Wow, These girls don't waste time. Kanya immediately says, if you're at this auction too, it means you have memories of your past life. So just tell me if you're an ally or an enemy of Frey. The other girl doesn't hesitate for a second and says, enemy. Kanya smiles, saying it's perfect that she answered so quickly, and the other girl is all excited in the background. Then she asks, do you want to join the Frey Extermination Alliance? Kanya is a bit confused, and Kanya explains, we meet occasionally to discuss how to kill that filthy guy. She says this to a man, then turns to Furlot, demanding to know what the hell happened, how she conjured that magic like that, and while they're arguing, Kanya is analyzing. She seems to reach some other conclusion. I don't know. The scene shifts to later at night, with the protagonist in his room, taking off his mask and feeling exhausted, realizing that if the cursed Demon King hadn't been weakened, he would have died. Oh, it's not the real Demon King. It's a minion controlled by the Demon King, right? I thought it was too easy too. Luckily for Frey, he managed to keep his face hidden in the end. The door opens, and Kanya enters, startling him. She immediately asks, young master, where have you been all day? Huh, he replies. Oh, I was tired, as I told you, and went to some shops with my sister. That's it. Now, don't ask me anything because I don't owe you an explanation. He's already lying down while she says she's sure she saw someone very similar to him in the alleys, wearing a certain mask and holding a familiar sword. Frey realizes things have gotten complicated, but she can't prove it, so he'll just keep denying it. He covers himself, saying, how many swords do you think exist in this world? For God's sake. Kanya says she understands, but didn't he drop his star-shaped brooch? He tells her to return it and leave, until she mentions it's strange because she found it at the auction event. He fled in such a hurry that he didn't notice he dropped it. Well, my friend, there's no way around it now, right? Hiding it would be difficult. He throws the thing away, saying it was found there and doesn't belong to him. He goes back under the blanket, realizing it's going to be hard to hide now. What is he going to say to get out of this situation? Oh boy, before he can make an excuse, things take a turn. It seems the tables have turned, my friend, and Kanya says it's useless for him to keep denying it. The sword, the brooch, and this wound. All of these are more than solid proof that the masked man was him, so he better explain why he helped her. Oh no, when she says this, a penalty activates, and his heart starts to hurt. The villain's path was affected, and his vitality was drastically reduced. Wow, the boy had a fit and coughed up a liter of blood. Kanya asks what happened, but it's too late. He's out of breath. He grabs the blanket, saying this is ridiculous. Today was full of unexpected events. Kanya is worried. She didn't want to kill him, girl. Oh dear, her little heart is shaken. Sometime later, she's wondering if this is right. If she had just left him there in bed, he would have died. But she also doesn't want him to die like this. First, she needs to know why he helped her. After that, then she might kill him herself, once she has the answers she wants. But at this moment, she's gathering power in her hand, and I think transferring vitality to him. Or not. Hold on, folks. She's trying to invade the boy's subconscious, thinking this is the perfect moment for her. If she does this while he's vulnerable, she'll know everything in his mind. However, her expression changes when she finds herself in an empty field. It was a completely clean subconscious. Normally, criminals and villains are consumed by deep darkness. She's there, confused, when a big-headed Frey appears, saying hi. She recognizes him as the master of this subconscious and launches an attack, grabbing his arms and legs. Calm down, girl. But she's a BDSM queen too, always immobilizing the poor guy, mounting him. Poor thing. She's there, telling herself she can't be careless just because he's a child. In this place, he is the absolute power. She activates a purple aura, saying it's a magical oath, and he better answer all questions honestly. He says he understands, asks to be released, and she breaks the chains, wanting to know why Frey helped her. The big-headed Frey responds that it's because she's important to Frey, but she bites her lip in anger, saying it doesn't make sense. How could she be important after everything he did to her? The big-headed Frey says there's a reason for everything. He even sacrificed his energy to save her. She still doesn't understand, while he says words can't really convey the message. Alright, then he'll show her the real Frey she doesn't know. Okay, so it seems like one of them will know the truth. She sees the day he first picked up the sword, how he planned to die with her, how he wanted to protect everyone but had to become the red-eyed demon. The way he swore to himself that finally, after that life, he would save everyone. And now, lastly, the sword strike he took on his back, thinking he didn't want her to die like that. And the moment she faced him, wanting to know why he saved her. Now she's holding her head, not understanding if all this was for her. Hold on, it was for you and 4 other friends. You're on the team, but you're not the whole team. And it seems she understood, right, that he's coughing up blood, almost dying, because she found out everything. Even though she showed the maximum possible hatred, he was still willing to sacrifice himself for her. What do you all think? I think I like having someone who knows because it adds another dynamic to the story, you know? Otherwise, it would just be kind of predictable, you know? I think now it's more unpredictable, and I like it. She's there crying, staring at herself in disbelief, while the big-headed Frey tells her not to blame herself. He could handle all the hatred if it was directed only at him. Wow, he gave her a hug, everything shattered, and now she's back in the real world, tearful, all cute. Night falls, time passes, Frey wakes up all sweaty, wanting to know where he is. Now it's complicated, to be honest, because he's waking up and she's there all blushing. And she knows that the bad things he does are because he likes her, meaning, a peculiar dynamic has been created here. Or maybe not, because he says, hold on, you now know my true identity, don't you? I know it's complex, but I'll explain it to you since there's no reason to hide it anymore. So, it seems he's going to tell everything, right? He reveals that he has the mission to save the world, but at the same time, he has to follow a strong oath. I think he can explain because he's already received the punishment for her kind of knowing, right? She kind of stayed neutral. I think that's what I'm understanding here. He reveals that at this moment, he strengthens himself by doing bad things. When anyone discovers him doing any good deed, his life is reduced. Oops. Will Kanya help him do something bad against the girls? She's understanding now, right, why he was treating her that way. And he says yes, but she should never forgive him. No matter the reason, his actions are not justifiable. Of course, they are. Man, you're saving the world, trying to rescue the whole planet. It's justifiable? Yes, you can mistreat all of them. Akane says she knows he had unavoidable circumstances. Every night, he gave her vital force. Okay. She was suspecting why, but now it all makes sense. Frey scratches his face, saying that really, in her case, it was inevitable that she would eventually find out, right? But what is she going to do? With a slap on the cheek, she says that, as always, she'll continue serving him until the day she can repay everything he did. Frey says he already imagined she would respond like that and, as always, counts on her. I want to understand the dynamics of all this, right? But for now, the scene shifts to a little cat with a name on its paw, while Akane calls her princess, wanting to know why they're meeting in a cat cafe. Akane is there petting the kitty, saying it's because no spies are watching them there. And since they failed to obtain the domination stone, they need to find Frey's weakness and restrict his movements. Akane says she wants to tear him apart, and Furlosh says this is the perfect moment. However, the princess says they can't just kill the boy, because their lives will continue after that. Akane, seeing this, realizes that, in a way, she's in a good position to act as a spy, but maybe that's not enough. She can't do everything, but even if she can't carry his burden, she'll do everything she can to help him. And she'll start with the simplest thing, preparing a normal meal. Everything she likes to see the young master smile. Oh girl, wake up, the world is at stake, and you want to make sandwiches? Wow, that wifey instinct is strong in this one. And there we are, right, with the next day, the protagonist eating a little sandwich, chilling. Finally, the snack is good, right, because it doesn't have poison, and he doesn't have to keep telling her to make it again. This little maid just flirts too. She says yes, she'll always do everything with care to give him the maximum vital force. I want one of those. He says he'll do his best, and she just asks him not to die. Sometime later, she collapses on the couch. What's going on? She lifts her shirt. Oh, hold on, folks. Vital energy transfer. A serious business here, my friend. The protagonist, as always, spitting that red stuff, and she's noticing how much it hurts his body. Wow, but now even she's there with a stomachache. Something strange. A black shock. Frey apologizes. She doesn't understand, and he explains that accidentally. Star mana mixed with dark mana. She asks him to calm down, but says she has to absorb it. Goes with the big hand again. Sweating, she keeps asking him to stop. Oh, then she's red. And with him saying it was faster than he imagined. My girl, why are you red if his entire arm is completely corroded? But he doesn't care. Apparently, says it's fine. It's not the dominant arm. It's cool. She gets up, saying it's going to be hard to restore that, and he says she's too dramatic. I'm not understanding this relationship here, but it's time for school. We're in class with Professor Asura, who says soon they'll have some one-on-one fights, while Frey thinks my current condition is terrible, but at least I've been achieving my goals. With the points I've earned at the academy, I've acquired various skills and items. Now I just need to refocus on the main mission. A mission that has just activated. Fight and defeat Irina Feliano, Queen of Spheres. The reward is a life charger. He already imagined that the first mission would focus on Irina. He knows that in these exams, there will be some nobles who will be humiliated by her and then try a sneaky attack. But this time, the villain will change according to his choices. Whether he wins, loses, or escapes against Irina, all of this will change what happens. The system gives 3 options. Avoid the fight against Irina, blame someone else as the villain and become a shadowy figure, or fight against Irina and win to get the reward. But it's extremely difficult. Or the third, fight against Irina and lose. Frey seems to believe it's easy to deal with the penalties, but obviously, he'll have to choose whatever prophecy makes him the villain. That's because it's easier for him to be the villain of the story than to leave it to some random person. Isoret, the lovely teacher, says that anyone lazy will be immediately disqualified. It's good for them to form pairs and prepare for the next period. The problem for Frey now is different. Fighting against Irina would be extremely easy since she can't win. And wow, at this moment, Irina is being bombarded with another girl protecting her. These common girls get beaten a lot, poor thing. It's those noble blonde frontier heads saying these trash here need to be humiliated for doing harm to Frey. Suddenly, the protagonist appears, saying they're pretty smart. He didn't order anyone to do this, but they're acting on their own. The blonde thinks it was a compliment, goes, "Wow, Frey, thank you, but why are you here?" He says he was remembering that scoundrel who ran away. The blonde tells him not to worry, that her punishment will soon be over. But then, Frey comes in front of Irina and asks why she ran away. Apparently, Frey made some bold offer, but translated wrong, because the brown-haired girl responds that she would never do something like that. He puts his hand on his chin and says, "That's interesting, then." Then he says, "Irina, how about this? Whoever wins the duel gets to make the other person do whatever they want. That seems fair to you, doesn't it?" The brown-haired girl is trying to refuse, and the protagonist says the offer goes to her, apparently. When Irina sees her friend in shock, she says it's okay. She accepts. The protagonist thanks her, saying it's funny how she changed her mind. For her kindness, he'll even add 1,000 gold to the bet, but she should already know that the moment she loses, she'll become his slave. Wow, he pulls out a crutch and starts talking about making a death pact. She wants to know why they're going to such extremes, and he says it's because she loves breaking promises, so this is to ensure she keeps it. The brown-haired one tells Irina to stop, saying she can't beat Frey, but she insists it's fine. She'll crush him, and they make the pact. The protagonist thanks her, tears the other half, and the two join together. The chains separate and go into both their hearts. Kurapika's chain, oh my, now, it seems they're connected. Whoever breaks the pact goes straight to the grave. The blonde is there, shocked, saying, "My god, Frey didn't even hesitate to make this life or death pact. Wow girl, there was a whole tremor. Calm down, okay? Let's go. Head to the bathroom." Meanwhile, Frey turns and says that as long as the bet is on, no one should hit those two. He waves goodbye, saying he has things to resolve, thinking he's managed to stop that ridiculous noble and also set up the match against Irina. The problem is he has to lose to her, who has reduced mana, so he can take on the role of the noble who is defeated and then attacks at night. The fake villain system gives him 500 points for putting her in a life or death game. He realizes he'll have to use store skills to create the defeat. He spends 800 points to buy a level 1 mana transfer. The plan is obvious, right? Since she has no mana, he'll give her his. Now he's wondering if he should buy anything else. Knowing he'll have to lie a lot, he buys a skill that increases his persuasion power. My god, Frey red pill. When he buys it, he thinks he's turning into a woman. Wow, Frey said, women lie. Jesus, I didn't say anything. It's Frey. For heaven's sake, don't cancel Mamoru. While he's in this daze, someone else is watching him from outside. Furlosh, the weird, crazy one. She seems scared and confused about something and runs off, saying she can threaten Frey with this. I think it's the fact he said he's a woman. Who knows, right? He's a bit confused too, thinking it's nonsense, so it won't cause any problems. 3 days later, at the training field, the protagonist is in the bushes, watching Irina practice, who has no magic. She says she's fine, she just has to try hard. If she squeezes out all her energy, she'll manage to create something. The protagonist is moved, saying it's incredible to see someone trying so hard to kill him. Then, Irina starts creating a flame in her hand. 5 little fireballs appear, right? The protagonist is impressed, saying that's enough to make a fireball. She was indeed a great mage, but it's good for her to save some of it. Otherwise, she won't have enough for the fight. She falls to the ground again, and her friend goes to help, saying it seems impossible, she'll have to help Irina. She warns Frey will definitely use some dangerous artifact. If we go fair, we won't win, so I'll secretly help you somehow. The protagonist, watching from afar, congratulates the friend, saying dishonesty is perfect. However, Irina apologizes, saying she doesn't want to end up like that trash. She leaves, saying she'll definitely win this on her own, while Frey thinks that damn girl could accept a little help once in her life. Suddenly, a bird comes by and brings a message. When he reads it, it says something like, I know your secret. Follow my instructions. Come to the cathedral, now. Apparently, it's Furlosh's 16 IQ, right? Frey wants all the archetypes in his harem, right, dude? The lighter the hair, the dumber they seem, apparently. And here we are with him arriving at the church and her waiting there. The boy is exhausted while she's standing in the middle of the altar. She turns, surprised he actually came, and says it's funny he's been deceiving her all this time. At that moment, Frey is in shock. If she knows his identity, that he's a good person, he's screwed. He's about to faint and start spitting blood. She then says the charade ends there and pulls out a maid outfit, right? She's in that daze about him, saying he's a woman. He's a bit confused. I'm thinking she's not 16 IQ. She's 300 IQ. She's playing a game I don't even understand here. This girl is way above. She's telling him to become her maid, that she'll keep the secret, while he's kind of confused. Why was she believing this? Doesn't she have memories of the past life? I'm a bit confused. Does she or doesn't she? If she does, she should know he's the villain, not that he's a woman. Or, as I said, she's 300 IQ. I'm telling you, she's clinging on, all over him, holding the boy in peculiar ways, stroking his chest and saying if he were a woman, he should have more volume. I'm telling you, he says he's not a woman and she wants to check elsewhere. She's 300 IQ, folks. She's pretending not to know what she's doing, right? Putting her hand here, putting her hand there. Look at that, all in the dramatic act, while the protagonist wants to leave. Until she says if he had followed what she asked, he wouldn't need to be killed. Oh boy, she really advanced, grabbed his neck, and threw him to the ground. While she cries, she says Kanya already knows his weakness and is about to execute him. But she wanted to save him somehow. He should have obeyed in silence. Boy, Frey is there drooling, while she says it's a shame, but he'll have to die there. Oh boy, the protagonist drooled. A while later she let go and said now she's a criminal. She decides she'll follow him now and take her own life too, since she killed him in the church. Both would go to the afterlife, and there they would repent for their sins. But that ability the protagonist has, which defends him from a fatal blow once a day, activated, and he gets up telling her to wait. Apparently, the rascal was going to pretend he died, and now she's wanting to fight again. But Frey didn't come there for nothing. He presses a recorder on his clothes. From the moment she said Princess Kanya knew his plans and would execute him. And with that, he says she was foolish to think he would come empty-handed. The saint of the church and the third princess wanting to kill the duke's son. If this became a rumor, things would be really bad for both. Next chapter. Looks like the tables have turned. Guess who is playing maid now? I still feel like that stubborn girl planned this from the start. She brought that outfit because she knew she would be tricked, you know. She has like 300 IQ. She asks if it is good and he says no, do it all again. The poor girl says it is already the 5th time and he just presses the recorder, and the moment he does, she goes back to cleaning everything. She trips, falls like a complete idiot, and starts crying, saying she is done with this. He agrees and says it really is done. So how about she comes for a little job, something more nighttime, let us say. Furlough says she would rather have all the rumors spreading than something like that. Bam. Wow, that slap came out of nowhere. What was that? It was like opening a website and getting a pop-up straight to the face. I did not expect it either. He sighs and says she is the one begging for the rumors not to spread, so she better not refuse absolutely anything. If she does not want to be forced to see hell, she should start obeying quietly. Damn, even Furlough is shocked, saying he used to be kind before, so what happened? He tells her to stop that pity talk, but she insists, saying the last time she got hurt, it was him who gave her a potion. The protagonist looks like he wants to deny it, but then he remembers her receiving a potion there and wonders what that is. Could these be memories he does not have? Furlough then says, forget it, all of this was unnecessary because in the end he turned into trash. She will go back to cleaning just like he ordered. At that moment he sees that she is angry, disgusted, uncomfortable, disappointed, sad, everything and more. But for him it was fine because in a few months anyone connected to him would suffer. At least this way, she would be safe for a while. WoW's system gives some points already. He hit her, made her scrub. What is this? We are back in the bedroom at night. He is all happy while Kanya asks if he was drinking. Looks like he says yes, it was unavoidable because things went really well. She finds it weird, he has nightmares, his illness is bad, and he still drinks. He tells her to stop bothering him and to lie down because he will put some life energy into her. Then he pulls that Frey line saying, I doubt it, you know it will work, it will not take long, you will get a cell of your own. Yeah, that is it. She is there, opening buttons, and then Frey suddenly says he forgot to mention that the transfer does not have to be through the stomach. Uh-oh. She says it is fine, it is not a problem. He says it might be better, maybe another spot. I am thinking, oh, okay. Looks like he is trying to escape because both of them are getting slapped in the face, and then she turns around. She is really red, so just past the energy already. There are 5 wives to take care of, he is getting healed. While he is transferring everything to her all out of breath, he asks if she happened to enter his consciousness when he passed out. She says yes and apologizes, but he says it is fine after everything he has done. Kanya, on the other hand, only thinks that in both his past life and this one he keeps risking himself to save her. Later on, maybe deeper into the night, she turns on the light while he is kind of stuck in a nightmare. She says that even if she cannot save him, she wants to at least ease his nightmares. She picks up the kitten and says maybe this will be enough, as long as it is not in human form it might work. The scene then shifts to the nightmare he is having where he wonders where he is. The same kitten appears meowing and he pets it. He hears a strange sound nearby, and when he turns the corner, he finds what looks like a younger version of himself handing over a potion, which seems like that Furlough's scene. She is all dirty, runny nose, bay-headed, and asks why he is giving potions. He introduces himself as Frey Starlight and says she looks like someone who needs it right now. She does not want to accept it while the protagonist is confused. This should not be the first time he met Furlough. As far as he remembers, it should have been at the cathedral. The child Frey says it is fine for her to be suspicious, but he will leave these 2 potions here and go. If she ever needs help, she should go to that cathedral. He waves goodbye and runs off while she stays there thinking he did not seem like such a bad person. Suddenly, the smoke fades away and she turns into stone. Adult Frey watching this thinks this does not look like just any dream. Furlough says some things that sound like 16 IQ, but she usually does not lie. And what he just saw felt way too real, so something like that might have actually happened. The problem is he has no idea when or how that would even be possible if his memories were manipulated. And it was what she said that kind of triggered all this. Suddenly, the kitten starts panicking, looking around, and the same fog moves in. Everything feels surrounded by red darkness, and he says he has a really bad feeling. Get this brutality out of here already, is that Furlough? Why kill like that? Frey says he feels like he is about to witness something even more terrifying. Oh no, please stop, I just wanted 5 wives and happiness. The protagonist starts falling into a void, saying that if he keeps going down this path. Suddenly, a voice asks how long he plans to keep sleeping. Someone tells him to wake up, but he wakes up in red. Furlough, covered in blood, saying he finally woke up. The cursed criminal who made her go through all of this. Wait, was it really him who killed her like this in his past life? Did it have to go that far, Frey? Was it not enough to just kill? So maybe it was done to make the queen believe it. He is shaking, saying he does not want to see this. Then Kanya appears behind him and holds him, asking if he enjoyed killing all those people. He sees blood, and then Serena and Kanya also appear, asking for help. Kanya says that just like he asked, she died for his sake, and that must have made him happy. Frey begs to be pulled out of the dream while they all drag him down. He falls into the void and gets bitten by the cat, pulling him outward. The cat is actually Kanya, who is desperately trying to pull him out of the nightmare. Even so, he keeps falling until he suddenly sinks into the sea. When he opens his eyes, he is in a calm space, completely different, and a voice says it made it in time. He does not recognize the voice, and then a woman of light appears, saying she managed to place the power in his subconscious. It is his mother. She holds his face and says he will not be tormented by these nightmares for a while. This is the last gift she can give him. Sadly, she warns him that the path ahead will be painful. Things will not go the way he wants, and when that time comes, he must remember what truly matters. He cries as she tells him to always keep in mind what he truly wants to protect. This is a lot to process. Then Kanya wakes up in a panic, sees him, and asks if he is okay. He turns to her and realizes she was the kitten, and thanks her, saying thanks to her, he feels a little more at ease. At the same time, in that dream, he met his mother, and she told him to remember what he truly wants to protect. Now, with all this memory stuff, he is starting to feel scared. If what he believes was really manipulated, then what can he actually trust? Maybe even the prophecies he has been following are completely fake. Kanya clings to him, saying that if that is the case, then he can trust her. She saw how hard he worked for everyone, and even if the memories were manipulated and the effort was meaningless, he never stopped being someone who gave his best for others. And just like that, he remembers the perfect world. Him and 5 wives. Good stuff. He knows the road ahead will not be easy, but he is determined to protect everyone he cares about. This is not the time to be depressed. Even if everything disappears, his efforts will not be meaningless. Just a side note now that I noticed from the start of the story until now, the only man with a name is Frey. There are no other men. We will wait for the day he finally gets a friend, because for now the scene shifts to test day. 3 days later, when he has to fight Irina. The magic transfer is already at level 3 to give her power, but it seems he needs some physical contact. I am already worried. At least Frey has been training a lot with Kanya, so he feels confident. The first match is Kanya versus Furlough. Friends fighting each other. Asura warns that quitting will not be allowed this time. Furlough says that his find activates her aura and says she has no intention of giving up. Kanya starts with a glow on her finger, preparing an explosion. Frey, watching from afar, feels like they have some kind of plan. Attacking him from that position should be impossible in theory. Kanya fires and Furlough punches it, sending it flying toward the protagonist, who was already expecting it. The problem is he tries to stand but cannot. Asura steps in front and saves him. She says it better have been an accident or both would be disqualified. Now Kanya presses the attack, saying they need to finish this fast. Furlough throws a punch that seems to pass through, and when Kanya looks back, she unleashes a combo straight into her thighs. That was brutal. Did she really need to hit every part of her body? The poor girl spits white stuff and drops to all fours, completely humiliated by her friend. Asura does not waste time and tells Irina and Frey to step forward. Kanya tells him not to push himself, and he replies that he already decided to lose gracefully. They reach the arena, and Asura pulls out a massive sword. Frey asks if Irina is ready, and she says he should prepare the trash pit. Frey gets excited and says she sounds confident, which is interesting. Let us see how long that mouth lasts. He activates his aura while she prepares a fireball. Asura asks if they are ready, raises her arm, and starts the match with Frey charging in. Irina, Queen of Fireballs, starts chanting, creating around 30 above her. She has not even launched them yet, and already closes her eyes, getting carried away, and the spells collapse. Frey rushes in, thinking she was stupid for overdoing it, and now he has to stick to the original plan. He stretches out his blue mana-filled hand and slams her into the ground. He only needed 1 hit. Then he humiliates her, saying, crawling on the ground like an insect suits you better. This should have been a total beatdown, but it is just mana transfer. Irina starts feeling confident, creates a fireball, and blasts him in the back. Frey thinks this is perfect and lets it hit him dead on. He acts like a total idiot, saying it hurts so bad that his back is burning. She jumps up quickly, conjures a massive spirit bomb-sized fireball. He thinks he might have given her more mana than he should have. She is full of rage. And somehow, even with him trying to lose, she still cannot win. It is a miracle. Congrats to her. Frey is confused, wondering what just happened. Asura starts counting down while Frey thinks he should have passed out from that hit, but that makes no sense because he gave her a huge amount of magic power. The problem is he gave her almost everything, so now he cannot transfer any more. He looks for a solution when suddenly a green light hits his face and a magic circle appears under both of them. He instantly realizes it is teleportation magic and wonders what is about to happen. Both of them vanish in front of everyone. Asura tells everyone to back away while the crowd is confused. And in the background, that 16 IQ girl wonders if the scroll she used was not supposed to be a recovery one. The scene shifts to a forest with Twitch chat rolling when the two suddenly appear out of nowhere. Frey is thinking that he really believed this plan would be enough. He did everything possible to lose, yet she still managed to fail. It was honestly an almost unexpected disaster. And then look at this. The guy walks up all romantic like trying to steal a sleeping beauty kiss. At least he sees that she is not badly hurt. The problem is that this is the forest with the most monsters on the entire continent, the famous Grey Forest. And how is a washed-up hero like him and a mage with no magic supposed to survive here? At least he already knows that the idiot Ariane was the one who used that scroll. What does not make sense is why she wanted to help Irina using a teleport scroll. That is something he will have to figure out later. First, he needs a plan to get out of here, but how is he supposed to do that while carrying this woman? That is when he opens the system and sees the mask of deception. It hides your identity from people within a certain range, perfectly disguising your voice and appearance. Frey realizes that he finally has a way to avoid being discovered. Sometime later, Irina wakes up hearing someone ask if she is awake and telling her to get up. Of course, it is him saying they need to leave this place urgently. This area is far too dangerous, and the longer they stay, the lower their chances of surviving. Irina asks what place this even is. He tells her that she was forced by Frey to come here using a teleport scroll, but now she is safe, so she does not need to worry. Irina is terrified, saying she does not understand any of this and asking who he is. He says he will introduce himself and claims he was a former spy of the Starlight family, Frey family, who was abandoned in this forest. He implies that he is someone who was also punished by Frey and teleported here to die. She sighs and says it seems like Frey wanted to kill her or throw her away here. The disguised Frey adds that the real Frey probably thinks he is dead. This is really hard to even explain. But he is alive and he will help her escape this place. He knows a relatively safer area and they should go there to recover. Irina tells him to wait and starts thinking that the story makes sense, but something feels off. This guy is strangely active, pushy, and energetic. If he was really a former ally of the Starlight family, maybe she should refuse. And like a complete idiot, she thanks him but says she would rather go alone. She says it may not look like it, but she is capable. Sure, you are very capable. You fainted while the guy was trying to lose to you. Irina checks her mana and sees she still has about 10%, so as long as a strong creature does not appear. And immediately a bear shows up. She freezes, wondering why such a strong creature is here. Her independence is about to end with one swipe that would smash her face, but the protagonist slips behind it and cuts it clean in half. She stands there in disbelief while he says that is exactly why he cannot let her wander alone. Before he can finish, she tells him to look behind and there is a group of goblins charging at them. You would think he would wipe them out, but instead he grabs her arm and runs. Later, in another part of the forest, they stop to rest and she asks again why there are so many high-level monsters here. He explains that this place is home to countless creatures. Then she asks if he is okay. The reason he did not kill the goblins is because he is already coughing up red. He gave all his mana to her and is still forcing himself while she notices his mask is covered in blood and he can barely breathe. She tells him he should rest or take that thing off his face. He slaps her hand away and says, "Do not touch it. I am really ugly. You will get scared when you see me." She scratches her cheek and says, "Okay, then forget it, but wait here, I will go get us some fruit." And somehow the protagonist agrees and tells her not to go far. She introduces herself as Irina, who only ever messes things up. Here we go again. You are going to follow her, right? Turns out he just wanted her to step away so he could remove the mask. He sighs and says at least she believed that ridiculous story. It probably eased her doubts, but now he needs to know what happened with Irina request mission. When he checks the system, the battle victory status is still pending. He assumes the Academy has not declared a winner since both of them vanished during the exam. Frey round trying to farm aura under the moon like he thinks he is some edgy warrior. At least he knows that in their current situation, one mistake could cost both their lives. 3 days have already passed since they arrived in the forest and survival has been rough. He is just following Irina instincts because his mana is completely drained. At least she finds some potatoes on the ground and they manage to avoid monsters. Finally, they get close to the exit. She drops some fruit on the ground, saying she is sure Ariane must be really worried. She wants to apologize to her friend when she sees her. If only you knew that she is the one who sent you here. And look at the protagonist. This is not a Portal joke, but the guy hunted prey. She is amazed that he can even take down a boar in this condition. He drops it and she asks Rihanna, which must be his fake name, if he plans to stay in the forest. He clearly does not want to have this talk, but she insists, saying he cannot live like this forever. He turns and says his answer will not change. He does not have much time left anyway, and if he escapes, Frey will come kill him. Irina tells him not to worry because she will help him hide and survive. He insists that he does not want to be a burden in her life. The moment he leaves, Frey will come seeking revenge on both of them and she would not be able to protect him. Irina realizes she really cannot do anything. He says it is fine, he is used to living here and it is not that bad. She finally accepts and she has been insisting for 3 days and his opinion never changes. He tells her it is fine and she can eat some fruit while he cooks. She feels bad about abandoning the person who saved her life, but he must have his reasons. Then Frey finds an ice dragon fruit and says he used to eat these as a kid and they are delicious. Irina asks if he really ate that as a child. This fruit actually has another name. The one who came up with ice dragon fruit was Frey himself when he was younger. Irina knows that not everyone should know that, and just as her suspicion starts, an earthquake hits. Frey immediately realizes the worst possible scenario has occurred. This place is not only home to powerful creatures but also used as a dumping ground by the Demon King. Modified creatures, failed chimeras, experiments, all kinds of things end up here. He can handle most of them except this one, the Black Golem, which even groups of high-level creatures cannot defeat. He draws his sword and says he cannot fight while protecting someone, so while he holds it off, she needs to run. But she just stands there, hesitating, and he asks why she is still there. At least the Black Golem is still dormant with energy absorption at 21%. This boss absorbs the energy of those it kills, so at this point it is not at full power yet. The real problem is that Frey cannot use star mana because that power belongs to the Starlight family. But then the Golem scans both of them and starts the elimination process, firing a laser. The protagonist has to save the idiot who should have already run away. He is yelling for her to leave already. Of course she stays and gets in the way. He plays the mental card and tells her that only she can take revenge on Frey in his place. And it seems she already knows because she mutters something like, "It really was a misunderstanding, I saw you as a piece of trash." Frey does not get it and she tells him it is nothing and that she was just talking to herself. Then she thanks Rihanna and says she will never forget this debt, not even when she dies. Did Kanya tell her, or how does she know? I am honestly confused, but she runs away. Frey thinks he is acting perfectly and that no one will figure out his plans. Now things finally get easy because the moment she is gone, he can use star mana. The Golem detects an emergency, but Frey charges, first activates his mana and slices its leg, making it fall sideways. The balance system starts searching for a countermeasure and Frey knows he sealed its movement for now. The monster activates method B1 and a missile launcher appears, firing a barrage at him. Frey is forced again to use star mana and sends a flurry of slashes into the sky. The Golem stands there, looking almost sad and barely affected. Frey realizes it keeps switching attack forms non-stop. At this rate, it is only a matter of time before it becomes fatal, so he needs to destroy the core fast. The target data updates and Frey is recognized as a Class 1 target. Self-destruction activates instantly. I thought the mad thing would retreat, but instead, Frey charges in, saying if he does not stop, this arena will also be in danger. He jumps and drives his blade in upside down, landing a direct hit straight into the core. Energy explodes and the entire forest is swept away. The Golem energy runs out and so does Frey energy. The mask falls. "Please, Arena, do not show up now, you will kill the boy." He sees a crow flying overhead and knows it is a reconnaissance creature. With that much noise, it was inevitable. It would be strange if no one came to investigate. The problem is Arena cannot find out or his identity will be exposed. He has to leave no matter what, but when he tries to stand, a breeze hits and his body gives out. Under the moonlight, someone saves him. When he opens his eyes, he sees Kanya looking beautiful as always. She tells him not to worry and that she handled everything. She even prepared a carriage nearby to take him back to the dorm without drawing attention. He tries to say he is counting on her but passes out. Later in the dorm, he wakes up and she asks if he is okay. Actually, this is 2 days later. He says he was just a little tired but needs to know what the current situation is. She explains that investigators found Arian used a scroll to teleport him. It was supposed to be a recovery scroll, but the effect was completely different. Arian claims it was an accident and people believe her. If her testimony is confirmed, it will be treated as unintentional. Frey knows a coincidence like that would not just happen. He thinks someone sold her a fake scroll. He asks Kenya to investigate who sold it, but she says someone is already on it. He asks about the Fire Sphere Queen and she says they found her in a village and returned her to the academy. Frey feels relieved since at least he secured her escape. Then he asks about the fight and the competition. Kenya says it was officially decided that he is the winner. Sadly for Frey, things would have been easier if he lost. Now the main quest moved to Route 1 fight Irina during the exam and win. He will receive the recovery scroll. He probably wanted villain points more so he could take revenge later, or maybe he just wanted revenge for the sake of being cruel. Villain logic is hard to understand. He thanks Kanya and she says she has one more piece of news. They found him so quickly thanks to the Duke. Frey asks what the Duke was doing there. She explains that he heard about the incident, went to the magic tower, learned about the scroll, went to the forest, and passed out from stress. The great Duke of the strongest family fainting from stress is wild. Retire already. Frey puts on a dramatic act, hugging Kanya and acting sad, but something feels off. The Starlight family of legendary swordsmen fainting from stress is ridiculous. Later, the sun rises and a new day begins. Frey wakes up, puts on his coat, and gets ready to head out. But before leaving, he meets a red-haired girl. He mocks her, saying he heard she was saved and that she really is a loser. She kneels awkwardly. He jokes about her oily knees. Since she was declared the loser, she now owes absolute obedience. All she asks is that he helps free Ariane. Frey starts thinking she came on her own after the incident to negotiate. He tells Kanya to prepare the carriage. Then he asks Irina why he should help her friend since she is now a slave. She says she will do anything he wants. He says they should finish what they started that day. She says she does not mind. He turns away and says if she accepts so easily, it is no fun. That is one of the worst things he could say. He gains some villain points, and for extra farming, he orders her to clean the entire room perfectly. Only then will he think about her friend. He slams the door, leaving her there trembling. Outside, Kanya asks about the request, and he says they will talk on the way while whipping the horse. He says the fairy asked him to free Ariane. He scoffs, saying he does not work for her, but he will use this to get what he wants. She will have to beg or buy him somehow. He asks Kanya how she is doing and if the dark magic in the forest hurt her. She says she is fine and it was not a great power. Frey tells her she is the only one who supports him and the only one who brings him happiness in this terrible world. This incident made him realize he needs her strength more than he thought. She blushes and says, "Of course, my master, my life belongs to you." He calms her and says he just wants her help and that they should take it slow. If something like fainting, losing consciousness, or teleporting happens again, he needs her help, and this item in his inventory along with her sister will be very useful. The scene shifts to the mansion and look at the paper father collapse from stress, the great night. Amazing, it totally makes sense. The protagonist looks at him like, "Dad, you are trash. Probably the weakest of all the powerful families I have ever seen in manhwas." Then the door opens and Kanya shows up saying, "Wow, you really went all in on your father. That is it then, goodbye. I am leaving and I will just leave this old man passed out on the bed. He will not help me get 5 wives anyway. But wait, before that, I need to talk to your little sister. Hold on, this kid is dangerous." One moment he says he only likes women when they reject him, and the next he wants to talk to her little sister. Kanya says she put her to sleep because she would get angry if she saw Frey's face. The protagonist walks in acting casual, while people complain like, "Wow, living in a massive billionaire mansion and still whining." He looks and says she really does look like Kanya, so that must be her sister. Then he pulls out the 1500-point potential potion. This basically awakens a person's true talent. Unlike Kanya, who exhausts herself and even sacrifices her life with dark magic, Katia has the ability to control and suppress dark magic. She can also control the dark magic of others, and he is sure this will help her. Since she is very young, only part of her power is awakened, and this potion will unlock everything. Look at this guy, smiling like, "Great, I created another little servant to help me in this world." According to the book, the effect should happen by noon, but suddenly someone throws a snowball asking what he did to Katia. The attack misses and hits him directly, knocking him into the wall, and there is another small girl in the corner asking if that was an aphrodisiac. "Calm down, please, it is not that serious, do not judge my boy." It is his sister Arya Frey calling him disgusting and telling him not to call her sister. She grabs him by the collar and starts yelling, saying he only thinks about indecent accidents even with their trash father passed out. Frey stares, thinking after all this time, this is what he gets when he sees her again. He endures the insults and then slaps her, sending her to the floor. He says, "Stop being ridiculous, that father collapsed on his own, he is weak. And that item is mine and I will use it however I want." He was talking about the girl and his sister says Katia is not his possession. He smiles and says now that father collapsed, he is the head of the Starlight family. This house Katia, her everyone here, he can do whatever he wants. She gives up threatening and tries emotional appeal, saying, "Brother, I miss how you used to be." He calls her filthy and tells her to leave because he cannot stand her crying next to him. Only 300 villain points that could have been 500. She cries, wondering what happened to her brother, while he thinks, "Wow, I am such a cruel guy, what evil acts I am committing for the sake of everyone." Later, he lies in bed, not caring anymore. He is used to this farce, but dealing with family is still annoying. Why is he suffering so much anyway? In his past life, he slaughtered people, cut heads, sent bodies flying, and now he thinks a few insults are a big deal. At least he knows he needs to abandon this sentimental side fast because anyone who has positive relations with him in the future will be punished. Someone calls him at the door and he asks if everything went well. She says yes, the process was simple and the effect massive. Before she struggled to control dark mana, but now it feels strangely easy. Wait, was that not your sister? Do you two have a link? It turns out she is using her sister power, which also allows clone creation. Frey thinks this is perfect because he needs a way to mask his identity. He tells her that when Kanya returns, she should invade the subconscious of some dorm residents and monitor the area. He can finally focus on the main mission without worry. Irina already swore loyalty, and he has the advantage over the other two. This prevents major accidents, and the mission can finally proceed unless something happens. Then he wonders where Serena is and why she has not returned from her trip. Serena is the one who was still in love with him even after he killed her. She is insane. The scene shifts to the western part of the continent. A ninja girl asks Serena what that is. She tells her friend to read, and it looks like something about ruins. Serena wants to visit the ruins of a hero from 1,000 years ago. She says she has no time, so she took a shortcut. The letter says being chosen as a hero was hard enough, but his descendants will face even harsher fates. Frey at this time should be progressing his missions. Somehow, she has this ancestral letter and is loving it, saying she cannot wait to return and see his reaction. Back to the mansion, Frey gets into the carriage, while his sister watches from above with an angry, foolish face. Kanya waves and asks if Frey will not say goodbye to Arya. He says no, meeting her will only cause more pain. The maid asks what the first mission is so she can help. He agrees and says the mission is to capture a person who will attack the novice dormitory. If he had lost the fight and become the attacker, everything would have been easier since he could blackmail people to free him later. But that plan failed, and now he does not know who the culprit will be. Kanya suggests he could still pretend to be the invader, but he explains that is not how the story works. Now that the flow changed, the attacker already exists, so they must let it happen. They need to watch the demons in those dorms. This is the perfect chance for them to infiltrate the empire. The place is completely corrupt, and noble arrogance has pushed everyone to the edge of rebellion. Any move by the nobles now will spark revolt, and that is what they are waiting for. Kanya understands they plan to use this chaos to take over the empire. He says yes, the prophecy states that if he fails, the Demon King will take even worse actions. Kanya says the hard part is identifying demons disguised as humans. He tells her not to worry because if they get a certain item, it will be easy. The scene shifts to an alley in the empire. He already bought a demon detector that looks like something from Dragon Ball. He says it can detect anyone below the Demon King and his executives. Since the system already tracks high-ranked demons, this will not be an issue. She says the system helps, and he says it causes trouble, but sometimes it is useful. He asks if she started investigating Serena. Kanya says yes, she assigns someone, but Serena is extremely hard to track. If she wants to hide, they will not find her. Frey agrees, since she is now an heir of the Moonlight family as his wife and controls an imperial intelligence and assassination group. That promotion is insane. Buy one, get four. As they talk, he notices rat eaters on the ground. They seem to be some of the children previously captured by succubi. The kids complain that the money the masked man gave was not enough and call him stupid. Another says even if they had not used it, the adults would have taken it anyway because they are weak. At that moment, the protagonist realizes that the help he gave to the rat eaters meant nothing. The plan changes, and he decides to build an orphanage. Perfect. They will find out and die right away. He says he is a hero and cannot ignore this suffering. He has more money than he needs, but of course, Kanya says he cannot do that. If he does, his identity will be exposed and everything is over. He then shows a pocket watch, saying it is a lifetimer he received after defeating Irina. As she can see, it only shows about 4 to 5 years left. That is painful. How can anyone enjoy life like that with a husband like this? He says he needs to do everything he can to atone for his sins. Kanya starts trembling with her face red, saying it is unfair, but if that is the case, then it is fine, and he can do everything under her name. The rat eaters receive some bread, and the protagonist watches proudly, saying at least they will have peace for a while. A while meaning until 7 at night when that bread is already digested. He says he cannot stay there because he has to go to the palace hall as his father representative. He feels calm because no one can flirt with him since he has a wife. Anyone who approaches he can just push away. Of course, it will not be that easy. The mother says it is dangerous that Serena from the Moonlight family is joining with the Starlight boy because that is too much power. Kanya understands that, but what the mother really wants is the Starlight wealth. She grabs the door and says fine, she will obey and marry Frey. The mother says it better be so, or she will be sold cheaply. The girl leaves shocked, but her hand trembles and she says impossible. If she has to marry that trash, she would rather die. Back at the academy, they look at the watch and nothing reacts. Kanya says it is just walking around with the watch and she can handle it alone. He replies that there is not much to do and staying with her is more relaxing. She blushes and agrees, then says she has something to deliver. It is a letter related to an imperial event. The current emperor, Lycan Solar Sunrise, who is Klenna's father, uses his authority to order Frey to finalize his marriage with Serena and also marry his daughter. This is based on a vow of trust made 1,000 years ago between the first emperor and the ancient hero. It seems every hero has to marry a girl from the Sunrise family. Kanya says it feels sudden. He agrees and wonders why they suddenly bring up a 1,000-year-old prophecy. Then girls come running, shouting they want to marry Frey and asking him to dance with them. Kanya jumps in and drives them away, saying the young master already decided who he will be with and telling them to leave. As they leave, they swear they will marry Frey. The The protagonist thinks if more people hear these rumors, it will be bad. It is better if this event stays quiet. Kanya agrees things are getting complicated, but says it might not be all bad. He was wondering how to distance himself from Serena when she returns, and now it might be easier. This is the perfect chance to step away. That girl, who stayed in love even after he nearly killed her, will not give up so easily. The scene shifts to the Academy Library where Kanya says there is nothing useful. She needs to check Secret Palace archives but cannot enter without her father's permission. She needs to investigate that vow and the excuse being used to force this marriage. 1,000 years ago, when the Demon King vanished and the first emperor founded the nation, two powerful houses helped greatly. The Starlight family defeated the Demon King and gained public support. The Moonlight family handled many hidden matters behind the scenes. Both gained privileges, and since then the emperor never interfered in their decisions. These houses supported the empire and relations were good, so why now is her father forcing this? As she thinks, Frey appears, asking why his future wife looks so thoughtful. She says he must be bored to come provoke her. He tells her not to glare with that ugly face because they will live together now. She says they have nothing to resolve and leaves. He says she should be more friendly since they are bound by the love of ancestors from 1,000 years ago. She is surprised he knows, and he says, of course, he read the manuscripts. The first empress was also in love with the first hero. She throws the letter down saying she does not care and waves goodbye. She asks if he really thinks it is fine to be forced to marry her. He replies that what he wants does not matter. The Moonlight family does not have that much power anyway. It might be easier to use her, and as she behaves, he might allow a little freedom. She thinks quietly while Frey believes he gave her a big hint because at the end of the page it says the vow is invalid unless everyone agrees. He is sure Kanya will notice and avoid the marriage. Surely that will happen. The scene shifts to a forest at night where someone approaches an abandoned house. Inside, Serena greets an old witch. The witch removes her hood and tells Serena to remember she is speaking to the head of the magic tower. Serena laughs and says witch is a better nickname. The witch sits and tells her to speak quickly since they have no time. Serena asks her to erase her memories. The witch is intrigued and says it has been a long time since someone asked to erase their own memory. What does she want to forget? Serena says, not something specific, but everything from the last month. The witch is shocked and calls her foolish, saying her body will not handle it. Serena explains she is about to reveal the true identity of the hero and cannot move forward with these doubts. She then adds another request. She wants a spell that forces unconditional obedience. The target of that obedience is Frey Rayon. If this is not done, she will end up killing him during the event. That is what real lack of self-control looks like. She would rather erase memories than restrain herself. The scene shifts to the day of the event with Kanya getting ready, feeling disappointed and unwilling. She hears a kitten meow and sees it, leaving behind a red book which was clearly Kanya. Kanya reads it and is shocked by what she sees. The scene cuts to the protagonist walking confidently down the hall. He asks if the item was delivered successfully and Kanya says yes. He thinks that with this, he is finally free. The marriage with Moonlight is cancelled, and the one with Kanya will also be annulled. Her friend tells him not to celebrate too early before being sure. He looks to the side and says he is sure everything is fine. When he sees the blonde girl, he knows that even if she wants him, he can reject her. Kanya says that now the only thing left is dealing with an empress. He thinks it will not be difficult. Then another girl shows up playing with her hair, asking if she can have a moment with Frey. He remembers her as the crazy girl who humiliated Irina. He tells her to just say it already. She says she feels so sorry for him. He asks why. She says it is sad that he has to marry the most ill-mannered daughter of the royal family. She may be a princess, but she is worse than many rural nobles. The only decent thing she has is a bit of her looks. She says she truly pities dear Frey. If he married her instead, a count daughter, he could gain all the wealth and power he wants. Frey stays silent while she lifts her long dress and says she will leave so he can enjoy an incredible night. This girl keeps popping up to cause trouble, so it feels like she might matter later. Frey does not care at all, drinking his wine and saying she is just frustrated. Kanya agrees, saying nothing she does can change fate. Frey then excuses himself, saying it is time for his meeting. He hands over the glass and walks past Kanya, who stares intensely like she is gripping the cup with her tongue. The scene shifts to a room where a servant says, Her Majesty will arrive soon. Frey says the room looks like a child room, asking who chose all these teddy bears. The servant says it was the princess. Frey says it is amazing and that the room is perfect. Someone enters apologizing for the wait. It is the Empress, who asks how it feels to become a member of the royal family. She sits down saying he is lucky since now no one can stand in his way. Frey says that is a wonderful way to see it, but asks if the Moonlight family did not attack her. The Empress says of course not, they were honest and followed the rules. Frey understands that means they paid a lot and the Moonlight had accepted. He thinks it makes sense. 1,000 years ago they were righteous, but now they are driven by money. Even the marriage with the Starlight family had that reason. Frey says he was relieved because he never wanted that marriage anyway. The Empress laughs. Frey hands her a letter saying it is a donation in exchange for royal status. He offers 6 million and she is impressed. He says if there is no issue, she can sign. She reads and asks about the clause, saying Frey Rayon cannot be arrested for any crime except treason. He says he will work hard, kill enemies, and collect resources, so some protection is necessary. She says he is very cautious. He stands saying it is an honor to join the family. She points out the final clause, saying if the marriage is dissolved against Frey, the donation is void. He says it should not be a problem, but it is safer that way. She laughs, saying everything is perfect. That means Kanya cannot oppose it anymore. He leaves and closes the door. Outside, he thinks this nation is doomed. Its leaders are blinded by greed, but the plan worked. This lets him act as a villain longer. Outside, Kanya says it looks like everything was settled. He asks why she is there. She says she was just discussing ways to strengthen the nation. She tells him to stop lying and admit his selfish desires. She says he should wake up because things will not go as he expects. She walks past him confidently while he looks back calmly. He found a way to avoid the marriage and everything is going as planned. Now he just needs to watch the chaos unfold. Later, everyone is gathered and Frey checks the message. Even the emperor sealed the document, so it is officially royal. He says this is the perfect chance, so no one suspects he is pretending to be a villain. Kanya asks where Serena is. He says she should have received the invitation, so it is strange. If she did not come, the Moonlight family probably refused. Kanya says the family head often avoids such events, and since Serena's marriage was cancelled, it makes sense. Frey is disappointed because he thought they would at least try to kill him. Kanya agrees it is strange since they did nothing. Frey thinks something is wrong. The Serena he knew always acted fast, but now she is quiet and watching. Kanya agrees and says they must stay alert. Suddenly, someone shouts, announcing the arrival of the Empire Sunday. Emperor Lycan and Empress Raimi arrive. Lycan announces the marriage of the third princess to Frey Raon. He yawns, saying it follows a 1,000-year-old vow, and tells Raimi to explain. She calls Frey, Rayon, and Kanya Stellar forward. They face each other. The Empress asks Frey if he accepts the blonde princess. She asks Kanya if she accepts. Kanya bites her lip in anger and shouts that she refuses. Everyone gasps. The Empress tells her to be silent, saying she has no authority to refuse. Kanya says that without mutual consent, the marriage is invalid. She asks if her father disagrees, and he says things are getting interesting. He looks bored and uninterested. Kanya says she discovered she has the right to refuse, and that is why she stayed silent. The Emperor says the Empress forgot that consent is required, and even he cannot defy the ancient oath. Since Kanya refused, the marriage is invalid. He asks Frey what he will do. Frey smiles and shouts that he cannot accept it either. How could he accept something that breaks a heart? Unreturned love is the greatest pain. If the princess cannot be happy, what can he do? It is time to say goodbye. The Emperor laughs, saying Frey is generous and that this outcome helps everyone. He apologizes to everyone who came to watch the wedding and says it is unfortunate, but at least the party will continue. The princess suddenly snaps and starts yelling insults. Frey tells her to calm down and suggests they talk about the contract that failed. He says she will have to return his 6 million and that, sadly, the clause saying he cannot be arrested will remain active. He says that is how it is, and that he is leaving and says goodbye to the princess and the empress. The clueless mother is confused and says she knows she has to return the money but thinks the immunity clause should be cancelled too. Frey walks away thinking she should have read the contract properly. He finally managed to remove that cursed wife from his life. As he walks, a demon girl teases him, asking if he is not going to marry the princess, and says it is cruel to be humiliated like that in public. She says if he wants, she knows a very obedient blonde girl. He raises his hand and flicks his finger at her, which looks ridiculous. He should have just walked away. She starts yelling, asking how he dares humiliate her. Frey does not care and tells her to disappear and never speak to him again. He keeps walking while she keeps cursing, and he thinks she really is disgusting. He then sees Kanya, who immediately turns serious and says something terrible happened. He is shocked because she rarely loses her composure. She says a love letter arrived from Miss Serena, who just passed by and said that if he does not go to the courtyard now to talk to her, he will be killed. Next chapter, someone holds a necklace and says that if it is used, no one will discover the identity. A crow puts it on. It looks suspiciously similar to the one the Empress was wearing. The Demon Queen appears, saying she is interested in the hero's first mission. The scene shifts to the courtyard where Frey meets Serena looking beautiful and saying it has been a while. Frey asks what she wants since they are no longer engaged. She steps closer and says she only threatened him because she knew he would ignore her otherwise. She waves a fan and says she knows they are strangers now, but she decided to help him. She does not know why she must help, but she knows she has to. Frey tells her to explain. She smiles brightly and says she lost her memories. Frey realizes it is always impossible to understand her plans. She explains that everything from her trip over the last month was erased from her mind using magic. He asks who would do such a thing, and she says she asked for it herself. She asked the head of the magic tower and also requested a spell of absolute obedience that binds her to Frey. She reveals everything without hesitation. Frey is confused and asks why she would do that. She says she does not know, maybe to help him somehow. If she decided to erase her memories and bind herself, it must be because she had to forget something he knows. Something about him or something she saw in the ruins. Frey immediately realizes she must have seen the hero ruins where identities, penalties, and even information about the system are revealed. It is written in another language that should be impossible to read, but she somehow did. She discovered who he really is and erased her memories, so he would not suffer penalties. He thinks she truly is a genius. Serena smiles, picking a flower, and says that if she chose to erase her memories, she obviously does not want to remember again. Frey sighs and says he understands the situation but asks why she wants to help if they have no bond anymore. She answers simply that she will help because she loves him. She says goodbye, saying she knows he is trash, but she still likes him and tells him to call her later. Frey thinks none of this makes sense and that he clearly lost something here. Still, with Serena's support, he now has access to an intelligence network. Combined with his legal immunity, this should make the first mission easy. The scene shifts to the old woman from the magic tower walking through the street complaining that she is being overworked lately. She thinks if that cursed girl was not her apprentice. Suddenly, someone offers her bread. She tells the child to go away, saying she is busy. It is the little girl Frey saved who asks if she really has no time to eat. The old woman says that as the head of the magic tower, she has no time for anything. The girl looks impressed and asks why she came here. The old woman says she sensed strong magical energy in this area and came to investigate. She tosses a coin to the girl who asks if she can help with something and says she can use magic. The old woman dismisses her, saying lying is bad. Then the girl opens a magic circle in her hand and energy expands. The old woman is shocked, realizing the magic she sensed came from this child. She activates teleportation and takes her to a forest. She asks her name and the girl says Glare. The old woman says from now on Glare is her apprentice. The scene shifts to what looks like the Demon Queen castle. She says she is tired of being trapped because of that cursed penalty. The crow asks what is wrong and she says it is time to move. The novice dormitory will be attacked and during the chaos, they will infiltrate with the Demon King army. The crow says he will gather suitable people. She tells him to find humans consumed by hatred, envy, anger, greed, and other negative emotions, since they are more receptive to dark magic and control. She also tells him to bring something else we do not see. The scene moves to the dormitory the next day. Frey is making plans and says he needs strength for what is coming. Kanya asks if the important part is the attack or what happens after. He says what comes after does not matter since he has legal immunity and Serena help. Kanya says they still need to search, but asks what if they cannot find them. He says it will be easy because the demon detector is a special item. Even if they hide and stay quiet, it will work. Only the system could bypass it, but since he is the hero, that is not an issue. Kanya says the item seems impossible to fool. He tells her not to worry. Suddenly, the door opens and the purple-haired woman appears. Kanya immediately tells her to leave and not enter without permission. The shameless woman says she enters whenever she wants in her husband's room. She walks around observing everything while Kanya insists they were never engaged and that it never happened. Frey puts his hand on his face and says he already told her he will call her when something is needed. Serena stops and says there is something more interesting he needs to know. She asks what Kanya is doing there. Kanya answers that she serves the Starlight family. Serena asks if she is planning to harm Frey and Kanya says she would never do that. Serena analyzes her expression and says that judging by body reaction and pupils, she is not lying. It seems she can trust the maid. Frey thanks her for the help. Serena then says that since she is here, he has an order for her. She must never be certain about anything related to him. She says she understands and it is clear the order worked through magic. Frey believes this will prevent any penalties from activating. On the fake villain path, punishment only triggers when someone has absolute certainty, just like when Kanya learned everything before. He hands Serena a map of the commoner dormitory along with the demon detector and tells her he needs the Moonlight family intelligence team watching that place. Serena says she understands but asks why he is acting like this since it seems positive. He tells her not to ask and that it is an order, and she only needs to obey. The command works again, and he tells her to report anything suspicious she finds. She says she understands and heads for the door, saying she will see him later, and adds that she loves him. Frey looks awkward, and Kanya says Serena is always unpredictable. Frey agrees and says now he just needs patience. Sometime later, the ninja girls are running everywhere at full speed. One reports to Serena that all people are in position watching the area, and so far there is no unusual reaction. They also place demon specialists, so it is only a matter of time before the culprit is found. Serena thanks her, and the ninja disappears. While Serena feels confident in her plan, the Demon Queen Crow watches silently and notes that the person shows no emotion. The Demon Lord said that anyone could be the cause of the problem, but it must be someone capable of casting a powerful dark spell to break the Demon Lord chains, someone who could draw a magic circle and sacrifice the entire dormitory. The goal of attacking the dormitory is sacrifice and release. Right as this becomes clear, we see a girl walking around furious cursing Frey and saying she never imagined she would be humiliated because of that trash. She thought he was special just because he was a bit handsome. She swears she will find his weakness and take revenge. The crow senses these emotions and says it found the perfect target. It flies beside her and its feathers touch her body. It asks who this malicious human is. Blushing, she answers that she is a servant of the demon lord and will attack the entire dormitory. The next day, Frey only sleeps and wakes up again and again without saying much. They sit down for breakfast and Kanya asks about yesterday. Frey says he wants to take Kanya shopping and eat something nice. Kanya turns red and asks if this is a date. Suddenly, the door opens and Serena calls Frey, saying there is suspicious, dark energy coming from that dormitory. They look at each other and understand the outing will have to wait. When they arrive, the dormitory is covered in dark aura, and Frey knows this is not something an ordinary person could create. He asks Serena what happened. She says the investigation team detected nothing, but suddenly, this morning, the energy started spreading. Frey asks if any nobles entered the area. Serena looks confused and asks why he mentions nobles, since they were only watching the commoner dormitory. Frey realizes he messed up and forgot to say nobles could also be villains. The strange part is why the detection did not activate. He decides to think about that later because stopping this now is the priority. Kanya wants to investigate, but Frey says there is no time. They must enter and capture the culprit. Once they identify the person, he will use the domination stone, which can manipulate minds once per day. Suddenly, all three Crouch's people approach from afar. It is the familiar trio. Serena asks what is wrong and Frey tells them to stay quiet. Furloche says she does not know exactly what it is, but she feels a malicious presence. Irina agrees something feels wrong and they need to help the people inside. Frey understands why Irina is here since this is her dormitory, but he wonders why Kleina and Furloche are also here. It seems the three form a bond without him knowing, which makes things more unpredictable. Serena asks for an explanation, saying she cannot help if she does not understand what is happening. Frey tells Kanya to cast a spell to block the area so no one approaches. Kanya gets annoyed and casts it herself, saying it is easy, and now he better explain. Frey explains the plan. He will find the attacker, immobilize them, and use the domination stone to control their mind. Then he will reveal himself as the mastermind and receive the mission reward. It will cause chaos, but he has legal immunity and enough money to cover it. He does not need to explain anything to Serena since he can just give orders. He tells Serena he will enter the dormitory to find the source of the magic and she should not think too much and just help him. She says she understands. They move through the barrier and the corridors are flooded in red light. Suddenly, someone tells him to look behind. A massive dark worm appears. He expected mind-controlled humans instead. Frey reaches for his sword, but Serena steps in. She knocks the creature away and forces others to flee. She pulls out her fan and releases a purple galactic flash that slices through its neck and defeats it instantly. Frey is stunned because he did not even have to act. He then notices strange red mana and sees a pentagram drawn on the floor. Kanya calls him from another area. He goes there and sees many people unconscious. It seems everyone was affected by a sleep spell. He asks Kanya to enter their subconscious. She casts a spell, but something blocks her. This is strange because no one should surpass her in subconscious magic. Not even Furloche or a Demon King army member could do this. There is only one being capable of this, the Demon Queen herself. Kanya is surprised and Frey confirms that normally not even her high-ranking subordinates could do this. The question is why she would involve herself in an attack on a random dormitory. Frey decides not to overthink it. First, they must resolve the situation. Serena appears again, looking exhausted. Then the hardworking girl shows up, always running around, saying she checked the area and something feels wrong. There are tons of monsters moving back and forth, but there are no random incidents. It clearly looks like they are being controlled by someone, and that someone is the attacker. Frey finishes. She agrees and reminds him about the graffiti from earlier. The same marks are on the floor of the first, second, and third levels. The whole dormitory is probably inside one massive magic circle. Frey already knows the Demon Lord is involved. A giant magic circle like this is clearly a sacrifice spell. He remembers something like this from the prophecy but cannot recall the details. It is probably connected to that circle meant to drain children, just like what the succubus did before. A sacrifice circle needs a final activation point where the effect happens, and that should be on the top floor. The culprit will be there and he has to destroy both. Then there she is, the jealous blonde, completely unhinged arm, raised eyes glowing while the crow watches, saying she was the perfect target. The stronger the negative emotions, the faster the circle completes. At this pace, everything will finish in 1 hour. Frey appears, draws his sword, and asks if she really made Isabel the chosen target. Looks like it, and he does not hesitate. He fires a burst of starlight. She is unharmed, and he realizes it was not enough. The crow laughs, saying it is funny that Frey thought that would work. Even if he arrived mid-plan, nothing would change. Isabel attacks, but Serena arrives in perfect timing and unleashes a sequence that disrupts the spell. Kanya steps in as well, and both tell Frey not to worry and that they will handle it. He only needs to deal with the crow, and he thanks them. The two girls move with confidence while Isabel conjures more spells. Frey draws his aura blade as explosions erupt behind him and demands the crow explain who he is and why he is here. The crow gets angry because too many people showed up. Still, it says that is fine since it only needs to control one more mind. Bold move trying to control Frey. That would take more than that since his life is already perfect. Frey smiles and says they will see who wins today. He pulls out the stone and says he is certain of victory. The crow gets suspicious, wondering what that stone even is. Then it feels its consciousness slipping away and falls from the ceiling like trash. Frey thinks it was strangely disappointing. Isabel is already on the ground as well, completely knocked out. Kanya celebrates, saying it was not that hard and they did not even have to go rough on the girl. At least it ended quickly, and now they just need to deal with the magic circle. Then someone suddenly asks what he is doing there. He turns around and sees the familiar trio, again now joined by more girls. Kanya accuses him immediately. Irina is certain, saying, "It is obvious." Furlough starts praying for strength to punish the sinner. Frey realizes the plan was way too smooth, so something had to go wrong. Kanya demands Serena and Kanya explain what they are doing there. Kanya panics and says she sensed something strange in the dormitory and came to check, and then they ran into them. She joins the others and even tells Frey off. Now things get worse because Serena says Frey is not a bad person. He was helping find the real attackers. Suddenly, Serena freezes. She looks confused, mid-sentence asking why Frey is even here. Her mind blanks out completely. The domination effect is hitting her and she is suffering. Frey knows that if he runs now and turns himself in, the mission will be complete. The problem is the magic circle still needs to be destroyed and he is the only one who knows how. If anyone else tries and makes a mistake, the disaster would be massive. If the domination stone had no usage limit, this would be easy. He could just move them away and finish it. Sadly, he has no choice. The stone suddenly shatters, releasing an aura that spreads everywhere, affecting the crow, the monsters, and the building. Everyone collapses confused, asking what that light was. He used the domination stone in berserk mode. Creatures without consciousness begin to go wild. Monsters flood in as he spreads his arms and smiles. This gives him enough time to dismantle the magic circle. Kanya is screaming, saying the bastard is finally showing his true nature. But Kanya already knows something is off and asks if they do not feel how strange this is. Why would Frey, who always hides and moves in secret, act like this? He is being way too obvious for a villain who likes planning. The protagonist thinks she set up the perfect backup. He just needs to focus on his actions and let her explain everything. Then the crow that is being controlled by Frey lands on his head and says this useless guy is under his control. Kanya then shouts, saying now everything makes sense. That creature is the reason for the terrifying feeling spreading through this place. Kanya starts forming magic in her hand and asks if they are ready. The guy fires a blast of light and says they will decide whether he was controlled or not after they finish him. The protagonist is smiling, saying he is looking forward to them coming at him since that distraction is exactly what he wants, and the first creature charges forward, but Furlough smashes it in the face. Or almost, since the girls are already surrounded on all sides. Kanya says they have to attack Frey because Kanya says they cannot kill the one who cast this or the monsters might stay out of control forever, so they have to break the magic and the circle. The blonde agrees with the plan, but Irina says she is not into it. Magic circles at this level are extremely delicate, and one mistake could ruin everything. Kanya says she understands and orders Furlough to rush in and restrain Frey while they handle the monsters. She fires a shot, Furlough slips past, and the protagonist reflects it with his blade. They face each other as she comes in to throw a punch that lands straight on the boy's sword, but she gets pushed back. He feels the pressure and realizes they are at least handling the circle carefully so it will not blow up. He is the only one who knows how to disarm it safely, but it would be even better if they stopped getting so close. Once again, he is forced to defend against an attack, and he is surprised. The angle is perfect, the speed, the strength, something is wrong. Turns out it was Serena who attacked, and while he praised her, he also says she should be even stronger. She says she does not know all the details, but she will follow the plan. He notices he did not even have to explain anything, and she already understood everything. That definitely makes things easier. Kanya goes for another attack, telling him to surrender, and the protagonist looks back, seeing the circle right there. He needs to mix his element, which is opposite to demon energy, to neutralize it. His mana starts dropping bit by bit, and he realizes it might shut down soon, while the crow keeps yelling that they are idiots and will never stop his incredible sacrifice. The girls panic, saying this is going wrong, while Serena says it is time to finish since most of the monsters are already dead. Furlough asks for time to prepare a spell, while Irina stays in the back, watching everything, looking exhausted. The protagonist keeps smiling, confident the plan will work until he suddenly collapses, coughs up blood, and falls to the ground. His body starts giving out at this crucial moment, and they move closer. Furlough warns them to be careful, saying he is just pretending, so they lower their guard. Kanya raises the light pistol, saying it is fine at this distance, she cannot miss. Frey says he will have to take the risk, use all the remaining magic to break the circle, and stay bedridden for a few days. At least Kanya should be able to handle the rest. He laughs at the blonde and says it is funny that she thinks she is faster than him. Mana starts expanding through the room. The guy stands up with wild swagger, stars, and demon energy exploding everywhere. He has completely lost it, saying that now everyone there will become offerings to the demon lord. The girls scream, telling Frey to stop, while he says it is already too late. An explosion tears through the room, smoke rises, and everyone watches, and when it clears, he is lying there unconscious. Furlough notices the circle looks broken and is fading away. Serena kneels and says it really looks like the magic lost control and failed. Kanya relaxes, realizing what he did, and says she will handle the rest. She approaches the protagonist and says he seems to have passed out from mind control and now is the time to capture him. Furloch says they almost died, while Klana celebrates that at least the bastard was captured. He really is the enemy. What they do not understand is why it failed. While everyone is confused, Irina stays in the back with her hand clenched, clearly realizing something. The girls are all talking about how Frey used his power and how none of this makes sense, while Kanya keeps insisting they need to take the boy to the hospital before he dies. Serena, on the other hand, is crying and holding him. What is going on? Why is everyone suddenly freaking out? The girls are all panicking, saying they noticed something. Noticed what? Tell me. Next chapter, Irina remembers Rihanna and says his tone always sounded rushed. He never showed his face and she thought it was because of an illness. But he also knew about the ice dragon fruit, which was something only she and Frey should know. For a brief moment, she wondered if Frey really was Rihanna. She quickly dropped that thought because that bastard of all people would never help her. But now she is wondering why. While watching Frey fight, she noticed how much he resembled that man. On top of that, the strange mana he was releasing kept weakening the magic circle every time it touched it. When the explosion happened, she covered her eyes and saw him fall, while the girls stood there shocked and moved closer. While they were talking about why this happened, Irina was just watching. That explosion happened because Frey mana expanded through the room and countered the mana of the magic circle. In the middle of the panic, no one noticed, but she clearly saw the circle being erased by his mana. She is sure the circle did not fail on its own and that Frey stopped it to save everyone there. But why would that disgusting bastard do something like that for everyone? And if that is true, then is he Rihanna? And why did Rihanna want to save her? And why does he want to hide his identity so badly? Her thoughts are interrupted by Serena screaming no while holding Frey, who is bleeding from multiple wounds. Now Irina is the one in shock, trying to understand what is happening to the boy. The scene shifts to the Demon Lord Castle. The tall woman wonders where everyone is and says it is funny how the crows stop responding. She also received a notification that the mission failed, so it seems she lost. She is basically fighting the system one-on-one. Main mission: attack the dormitory. Use the noble students to attack the dormitory and activate the sacrificial circle. She says it looks like she still cannot leave the castle, but that is fine since this was just a warm-up. Still, she is already bored. How long does she have to stay trapped in this place? She wants to know who this entity is that told her to prioritize system commands and kill the hero. Being the only one trapped there is extremely unfair. You really resemble Irina. Careful, demon girl. She wants to leave and at least send subordinates to start destroying the world. But the system says she still cannot leave or act directly. This system was supposed to help, but instead, it keeps giving orders she does not want to follow and piling restrictions on her. The system replies, saying sorry and that penalties exist, but the abilities would recover anyway, so it will release one. Duplicate skill released. Your consciousness will transfer to a copy, allowing you to act outside your body. She smiles and says she never liked one-sided fights. The only weakness of the copy is that it can only use 10% of her power per day. She says that is way too little, and the system responds that unlike her, the hero has no idea he is fighting the Demon King, so that makes it unfair. She says fine then, even if it is not her full power, it will be enough. With that, the sixth wife enters the game. The bitch arrives, ready to destroy every chance the boy has, saying it is time to end any hope of victory he has. Meanwhile, we see the protagonist witnessing everything as he falls into the illusion limbo. His consciousness starts to fade, and suddenly, he falls into a forest. The nightmares are coming back. He scratches his head, saying something is wrong. He was in the dormitory just now, so why is he in this forest? He remembers this is similar to when he was with Furloch. The dormitory was probably not erased completely, so he must be inside his memory or consciousness. All he wants is to not go through another terrifying nightmare. He hears something behind him, and when he approaches, it is Frey calling for his mother. He remembers that when he was very young, he hid in the mountains and got lost. But where is his mother? Because there is a huge monster ahead. A werewolf is hunting him, while the protagonist says he does not remember being attacked by this creature in the past. At this rate, the child would die and the beast jumps to strike. He thought it would be some kind of future Frey saving past Frey, but instead, someone throws a fireball straight into the monster chest. The beast runs away burned, and Irina appears, saying she found him. What is he doing in a place like this? He awkwardly tries to hug her in thanks, but she pushes him away and tells him not to get the wrong idea. He is not her friend or anything since she hates all nobles. Watching this, Frey realizes this is the moment he first met Irina, but he wonders why he does not remember it happening like this. In his memories, he met her when she was working as a bounty hunter. He remembers going to the forest with his mother and getting lost, but back then he was not attacked by a werewolf and Irina did not appear. In fact, his father showed up and brought him home safely. He starts thinking that like with Furloch, everything he is seeing might be illusions. Maybe this is a manipulated memory. His head feels like it is going to explode, but it is clear something is interfering with his memories. Irina tells him they are leaving. She needs to take him home and collect the Duke reward. Frey refuses, saying his mother told him not to leave. Irina snaps and calls him an idiot, saying his father is searching the forest for him, so they need to go now. The two walk ahead while the real Frey is confused but follows to understand what is happening. Later, Irina asks how long he has been lost. He says about 3 hours. She calls him an idiot and says being stuck in a place like this, full of beasts, is extremely dangerous. She checks the map and suddenly says, wait, something is wrong. You said 3 hours, but this rescue request is from 2 days ago. He asks if she said something and she brushes it off. Another inconsistency appears. Frey says what he finds strange is that he does not know why he was hiding there in the first place. He was playing hide and seek with his mother and got separated, but he does not remember much else. Irina turns angrily and says she has no idea either and he should stop asking her. She adds that it seems his mother messed with his memory somehow. That twist hits him hard. Right then, they both hear a werewolf howl. The boy starts shaking in fear while she tells him to stop being dramatic. She says even if a whole pack shows up, she will wipe them all out. In the real world, that would not help much. In the past, she is acting tough. She talked all that big game, but the moment the first werewolf showed up, she completely froze with the beast right in front of her. The monster was already way more battered than the last one. Frey is in shock, saying it is twice the size of the previous one. Irina says, yes, the plan changed, run if you want to live, and she gets grabbed. Frey screams for her, but realizes the beast is not letting go. He clenches his fist, says he will not run, and starts throwing useless punches that do absolutely nothing. Irina is getting crushed like she is in a deadly handshake. She asks what Frey thinks he is doing, and he just stands there with a stupid look, realizing he is doing nothing. The werewolf stares at him, then suddenly leans in and starts sniffing him. The creature mutters something like, I have to fight, while Frey is confused, wondering why the monster is sniffing him instead of attacking. The more he looks at it, the more familiar it feels. He does not remember any werewolf in his memories, so what is going on? He collapses, saying he feels like he is about to realize something important, but the pain gets in the way. While the beast stands there approaching Frey, Irina manages to conjure another fireball and blasts the wolf right in the ear. It lets her go and kicks Frey straight into a tree. It really would have been better to let it sniff you because now she gets slammed to the ground. She wonders if her life is really going to end in a place like this when suddenly Star Mana appears and something smashes straight into the werewolf head. From the shape of the body, it is obvious it is a female werewolf. She reverts and turns into a tall, wild girl they already know. Irina is stunned seeing Frey holding a branch, saying he will save her. The future sixth wife is shocked as Frey charges again. She tries to grab him, but something strange happens. The mana fails, she freezes and gets stabbed in the stomach. She coughs, blood hits the ground, and clearly gets beaten down. Irina gets up, wipes her face, and wonders how Frey can have that much power. If he was this strong, why did he not help from the start? He just rolls his eyes and passes out. Watching from the background, adult Frey is confused. The werewolf had the perfect chance to hit him, but hesitated at the last second. The headache, the feeling something is wrong. There is no way his mana back then should have worked on a creature like that. It only hit because the werewolf lost the will to fight for a second. One thing he is sure of, that creature knew who he was. Even in a berserk state, it could not force itself to attack. Everything fades into smoke and he wonders if this is the end of the memory. He figures he will see what things look like outside, which must be total chaos. The scene shifts to the academy and Kanya room. Furlough says she is back and her friend says it has been a week, asking how Frey is doing. Furlough says, like always, no physical problems but still unconscious. The blonde says that is strange and asks what they are supposed to do in the meantime. Furlough says they have to wait for him to wake up, but Kanya refuses. She says they do not have that luxury and while he is unconscious they have to finish him. The friend agrees but says Kanya is supposed to be a saint, and saints should not act so cruelly. Kanya says that hesitation will get everyone killed. Even without solid proof that Frey is a villain, they need to make more people suspect him. The fact that he infiltrated that house and ended up helping the Demon King army are undeniable facts. That alone is enough for many people to believe he has ties to the Demon King. That gives them the perfect chance to destroy his reputation. Furlough hesitates but says she understands and maybe it really is a good idea. Her friend is about to agree when someone calls for Kanya and apologizes for interrupting. A mage reports that Isabel has regained consciousness. The blonde immediately says she will go check. She needs to find out what that girl was doing in that place. She says she will leave the rest to Furlough and walks away. Then someone approaches Furlough asking to talk for a moment. He says this is Kanya room and no one is allowed inside and he has work to do. Then her power catches his eye and he says maybe she can enter. The little demon girl is already inside, seeing the black bird unconscious. She wants to enter that creature consciousness to discover the identity of the real hero. She sees all the images of Frey sending power everywhere. She gets excited, saying she figured out who he is. She prepares a demonic power, saying now that she knows the target, she just needs to destroy him completely. 3 months later, Frey is still bedridden and Serena is in shock, asking Kanya what is going on. A magical explosion like that should not keep someone in bed for 3 months. That is impossible. She is always by his side, so she should know something. Kanya looks down and says sadly she has no idea either. Serena tells her to stop pretending and asks if they are going to have to fight, saying she will start using her methods. Suddenly, maid Irina appears. Frey wakes up because she came to clean the room. Serena tells her to come back later because they are dealing with something important. Irina explains she has a death pact, and if she does not clean the room every time she dies, so she has no choice. Serena wants to kill her for that, but Irina tells them to keep talking while she cleans. Obviously, she is only there to listen. The two change their minds and decide to talk outside so she cannot hear. Irina sees this as the perfect chance to investigate, but then Frey coughs up blood. The boy almost wakes up after 3 months. Nothing like a tall maid to do the trick. He wakes up saying, "Wow, I slept too long." She asks if he really slept for 3 months. He says 3 months is a lot, but in his subconscious, it did not feel that long. It was probably a penalty from the cursed system. A permanent debuff fate of the false villain. Someone figured it out. It cannot be Serena since her memories are under his control. That leaves 3 possible women. Which one was it? As far as he knows, none of them should know him well enough yet to recognize what he did. From the start, he avoided using his sword style and abilities to avoid being exposed. There was only one moment he could not hold back, and that was when he fought as Rihanna. Irina asks if she should call a doctor while he looks at her from a different angle, seeing how beautiful she is. He has no doubt she saw how he fought there and in the forest. Irina might be pretending, but she already noticed his identity. Just being noticed already hurts him. If she actually confirms it, he is in real trouble. He wonders if he should apply pressure to get answers. But that might be risky because if it is not her, he might end up passing out again. He will have to wait to confirm it later. Right then, the door opens and wife number 1 and 2 walk in calling for him. Serena panics and says, "Frey, do not get up, you are exhausted." But he immediately tells Serena and Irina to leave because he needs to talk to Kanya. They turn around and leave, but Irina notices that girl is obedient way too much. What kind of perfect wife is that? Once they are gone, Kanya stands there, not knowing what to say. He asks her directly, "Do you know who found out my identity?" She looks confused and says no because everyone is acting normal. Frey explains that based on what happened recently, the most likely one is Irina. She saw me fight in the forest, and even though I suppressed my abilities most of the time that day, I was not perfect. He says he is counting on her, and also asks her to prepare some food. Kanya leaves, and the system appears with a notification. Since he completed that mission almost perfectly, he should gain many points. Instead, a special mission appears. An enemy has discovered your true identity, and as a result, they received a beneficial buff. Frey is furious. He fainted because of that cursed mission and woke up already exposed. He calms himself, saying this was almost expected. From the beginning, the whole thing about the 5 heroines keeping memories of the past has been very unstable. He also finds it strange how calm those girls are considering they know he could destroy the world, slaughter everyone, and bring the Demon King army, yet they act relaxed around him. Frey realizes deceiving them is much harder than he thought. No matter how much he tries to avoid trouble, situations keep appearing. In moments like this, Kanya's presence is extremely comforting. He really likes wife number 1. She is motivated, saying she must move forward and give her best so the master lifespan will not be reduced. He was 4 or 5 before, and now maybe 3. Meanwhile, Irina walks through the streets deep in thought. Why is that bastard hiding his identity? Maybe she should ask directly, but that could be a trap and a fatal mistake. She needs to observe him closely to find out if he is truly corrupted. At the same time, Frey decides to let Kanya investigate before taking action. At the Imperial Castle, the blonde is furious because she cannot imprison Frey. Her mother says it is because of that cursed contract that cannot be broken, and it is an absolute order from the Emperor. The daughter says fine, then she will bind herself to the contract and face the consequences when everything collapses. As they leave, someone says that if they had one of those crows, they could damage Frey's reputation more. She replies that staying calm for now is better, or they could face a reversal. The focus is to link Frey to the Demon King army. In the end, he would be executed by this country. There is no way he can compete with her wealth and power or with Furlosh, who is at the church wondering why Frey is unconscious. There is no medical reason, so this coma is strange. Furlosh says now that the first mission is complete, she is tired of playing dumb. She smiles, saying she can finally start doing what she wants. The red-haired demon queen must be moving too. She looks confident because Serena is her ally. Things are getting complicated. He knows about the past life, and she knows too. He has a mission, and they have one as well. This feels dangerous. On a sunny day in a beautiful garden, Serena holds flowers when a white parrot appears. It lands with a message and activates a magic circle. The energy vanishes. As promised, I will return your memories. Now that her memories are back, she decides to play with the system. Without penalty risks, she can issue commands freely. The more this unfolds, the clearer it becomes that the only one who knows nothing is Frey. He clenches his fist, saying the road ahead is hard, but I will do my best. My goal is to have 5 wives, or rather to save the world. The scene shifts to a dark cave. Water drips and someone steps forward. A golden eye stares, asking who dares enter. A red dragon roars, saying she should be ready to die. The figure removes the hood and the dragon freezes, recognizing the demon lord. She says the story is correct, but this is only her avatar. She orders the Demon King army to be summoned. The dragon says everything is finally starting. She replies, it is time to end the hero once and for all. The next chapter speaks of the hero who saved the world 1,000 years ago, Manhwa. The protagonist is his descendant Frey Round Starlight. Following the system prophecy to unlock the secret route, he caused the deaths of countless loved ones and all heroines. The secret route, the path of the false villain, only exists for someone who destroyed the world once. The only way to save it is through false villainy. To succeed, he must become the worst villain while ensuring none of the 5 die. Frey wants a world where all are happy. The problem is that the 5 girls remember the past and all the evil he committed. He must save the world while fleeing from them. At least, he completed the first mission of clearing the dormitory. Now he coughs blood with his aura active, saying he knew this was coming. 3 penalties were too much. He wakes surrounded by knights, saying a mission this hard right after waking shows the system cruelty. Skeletons rush him. He dodges, strikes, slaps, one neck, smashes another arm, spins through them, then dashes away, taunting them, saying he will never give up and charges back in. Before that, we rewind a few hours earlier when he was walking through the academy carefree while Furloach complained that if he kept stalling, they would never finish. He says he does not care, and the angrier she gets, the more fun it is. She glares at him and suddenly starts glowing, telling him he better remember one thing. Right now, he is under disciplinary punishment. Furloach changed clothes, or maybe it is just my imagination, but her belly looks more visible now. After the dormitory incident was resolved, the protagonist managed to avoid the worst punishments. But since it was a large-scale accident involving the Demon King, rumors spread everywhere and could not be fully suppressed. The imperial family that holds his contract tried to bury everything, but even with money and power, they could not avoid all consequences. Because of that, he was forced to help with preparations for the Sun God Orphanage Festival. During this time, he would be under Furloach's supervision. But as a false villain, he cannot actually help with the event, so he drags his feet as much as possible. He knows she is the supervisor, but she never leaves his side, not even for a second. It is starting to feel excessive. He turns to her and asks if she really needs to stare at him all day, saying she has other things to do, and she is a holy woman, so she should go help someone else. She answers that stopping him from doing evil in this world is more important because it would be far worse otherwise. He replies that attacking him like this after he was unconscious for 3 months is the worst thing she could do. She suddenly tells him to explain what happened in the order basement. He looks confused and asks what she is talking about. Then she abruptly changes the subject and says to forget it. She already knows he is involved with the Demon King anyway. He is completely confused and tells her to forget everything she just said. While Frey is still puzzled about why she mentioned the order basement, a system message appears. Important event: a terrible conspiracy is spreading in the basement of the Sun God Order. Investigate the conspiracy with Furloach and destroy the evil plan. If successful, you will receive the Awakened Hero weapon. Frey panics, saying this mission never existed in the prophecy book. What terrifies him most is the condition written below. If he fails, Furloach dies. That changes everything. He has no choice. 4 wives is not 5, and his dream is very specific. Furloach crosses her arms and says she knows he has information, so he should talk already. He rubs his face and says if she wants answers, they need to see it with their own eyes. While they talk, someone in a hood quietly watches them. The scene shifts to the church basement. As they walk, Furloach says she did not even know this place existed. He says it looks abandoned but asks how a holy woman like her did not know about it. She explains she once tried to investigate and sensed a strange aura coming from here. When she tried to look deeper, she was stopped. They told her they were storing illegal items and that explained the aura, so she was not allowed to interfere. Frey realizes the guards might be gone because of the festival, or maybe there is something more going on. Furloach thinks this is the perfect chance to expose the Demon King conspiracy. Frey finds it strange since she should not know he is an ally. So why is she talking so openly? He suddenly notices a strange stone tablet nearby. Letters form in front of him saying in the beginning there were the gods of the sun, the moon, and the stars. Under the protection of these 3 gods, the world reached balance and prosperity. Frey finds it strange that ancient script from his world exists here, and also the mention of 3 gods is unfamiliar. He never saw anything like this before. Furloach holds her face and says she has seen that script before. There are stone tablets scattered across the continent with the same strange writing. She tried to decipher them, but it was too difficult, so she gave up. Frey finds that interesting. If more exists, he could gather more information later. They reach a massive door covered in magic circles, barriers, and warning seals. Frey says attacking it would be dangerous and opening it would be difficult. Furloach does not hesitate and punches straight through it, destroying everything. Seeing that he just says fine and they move on. The next corridor is far larger. Furloach is shocked something this huge exists underground. She points ahead and asks why there is an army of undead beneath the main hall. Frey senses something off. These undead emit a mix of sunlight, aura, and dark magic. They are undead paladins revived but still carrying holy power. The question is why so many exist here. Furloach tells him to look above and there is another massive sacrificial magic circle. Frey immediately understands. A huge circle over a massive undead army. He casually asks Furloche if she found what she wanted. Following him here was extremely dangerous, and now she is defenseless. She backs away, telling him not to come closer or she will beat him. He calmly says there is no point pretending. She already used the sun god protection today. She cannot stop him now. Since she has no way to resist, he will show mercy and explain part of the plan. He points at the giant circle and says it is likely placed directly beneath the orphanage being built. During the festival, it would be the perfect moment for the largest sacrifice possible. Furloche panics and runs, saying it is impossible and too dangerous. He laughs and tells her she will die together with everyone else. Then he sighs and drops the act. He says good, she escaped, and now she will make sure no one dies. It is clear Furloche understands what he is trying to do. She is far smarter than he gives her credit for. He thinks he is playing the game, but he's the one being played. He turns bored and faces the skeleton army. A skeleton fires an arrow. Frey dashes forward, slashes everything apart, and says after sleeping for 3 months, he can finally fight like a real hero. Bones shatter, skulls fly, and he cuts through them but starts to feel exhausted. He kills 1 and 5 more appear. Blood spills endlessly from his mouth. He gathers star mana and charges again, breaking bones everywhere while someone watches from the shadows. Irina is observing everything. She now fully understands Frey's plan. 1 month earlier, she went to the Grey Forest and checked the golem Frey killed. She recognized the same star mana. That is when she became certain Rihanna is Frey. But if that is true, then everything makes even less sense now. Why would he insult her, then try to help her, and then bring her to this place? What is this kid goal? Now she is watching him destroy the skeletons and wondering why he only acts evil in front of others. Who exactly is Frey? He is just a boy once again struggling to fight monsters with blood spilling from his mouth. His eyes are red and unfocused. The problem is his speed and strength are dropping because his body is falling apart the more those women uncover his plan. He attacks another skeleton, knowing that at this pace he will run out of stamina again and pass out. He thought he could handle these paladins, but his energy is going to run out first. That is when he finally notices what looks like 2 liches in the back, raising glowing spheres of energy. Those are undead priests feeding the magic circle. Actually, they are activating the sacrificial circle. Half unconscious, he pushes forward, shattering the skeletons ahead and lunges toward the undead. He coughs blood again, leaps forward, and swings. The monsters are huge, hanging in the air. He cuts them down, and they crash to the ground. The circle that was draining energy breaks apart. And if there is one thing to expect from Frey, this is the moment he passes out. And that is exactly what happens. Frey is going to die. Only a girl with a lot of fire can save him now. A massive fire blast hits the skeletons. She rushes in, activates a flamethrower, and burns everything. While the monsters are roasted, she grabs Frey to escape. But then the skeletons walk out of the flames like nothing happened. Her attack was useless. Worse than that, she had to use a scroll to cast it because her mana is still ruined. She panics, thinking of what to do, and finds a strange scroll that looks harmless. She remembers the last time she bought a scroll, the seller tossed in an extra as a bonus. With no better option and questionable judgment, she goes all in and activates it. A magic circle appears at their feet. Classic teleport. The scene shifts to a forest as the two appear there. At least the sleeping prince seems alive for now, but she feels something is off. That scroll clearly looked like an attack scroll. She will politely complain to that bastard later. The strange part is this does not look like the Grey Forest. Then she notices a secret base in front of her that she and Frey built when they were kids. That means they are much closer to the Starlight territory. This feels way too intentional. And since Frey seems tied to all of this, she needs to ask him directly. She pulls out a potion and they stay in the cabin. Night falls, morning comes. Frey coughs blood like always. This guy passes out way too much. He wakes up with no idea where he is. Someone asks if the young master is alright, and there is Kanya standing in front of him. Wait, is this an illusion? Is this Irina disguised as Kanya, or is it like on this video that helps Mamoru make more juicy content for his viewers? Activate the cheeky little bell, and I am out.